Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. August 9th, 2017. I'd like to welcome all of you to our Planet X News live chat and live stream. We are here with our physicist. Doctor, how are you this evening?
I'm very well, thank you, Scott. And how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I have some major concerns that we're going to discuss probably over the next hour, hour and a half, ladies and gentlemen. We are expecting Jeff P. shortly. He's going to be popping into our live stream. We're going to discuss more of this biblical prophecy and what is occurring around the world right now. And we have so many things that are staged right now from August 21st with the total solar eclipse. Then September 23rd. Then we have a pretty big asteroid that is supposed to make a flyby in October, early October, 2012 TC4. It's supposed to make a flyby at about 4,200 miles above the Earth's surface. That's a pretty big asteroid. And there are a lot of uncertainties with this space rock. If any of you watched my live stream that I did the other night pertaining to this asteroid, well, you got an earful from me. But we're going to discuss a little bit of that also. But we have so many dates right now, dates of important events. And like I just said, August, we have a date. September, we have a date. October, we have a date. Is there anything in store for November or December? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I know I haven't posted a lot on my YouTube channel over the past 48 hours. One thing, I was having some internet issues again. Even though, you know, I have business class internet with the company that I have my internet service through. It just seems that there's been some big issues, you know, on the entire East Coast once again. I've been also paying very close attention to a lot of the things that are going on around the world. And
hello, Scott.
What's happening, Jeff?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff P. has just joined us, and we're going to get into some conversation with him here in a few minutes, and also the doctor, and we're going to be discussing more of this biblical prophecy, because the more and more that I have been thinking about things, the more and more I've been observing things over the past couple of days. You know, I'm not the type of person that gets shaken up very easily, but I'm starting to see some very, well, I don't even have the words for it, just some very strange things that are occurring. I'm going to show you a piece of video that was captured on the International Space Station, I believe. I don't know if it was today. I think it was today. The video information was sent to me by one of our subscribers. Pretty weird stuff, but there are so many things happening around the world right now, and I'm sure a lot of you are paying attention. But in the course of the last 24 hours, we've had some major earthquakes. I believe we've had 3 earthquakes over a magnitude 6, 6.1, 6.3, 6.5. We're starting to see earthquakes in very strange places. Multiple earthquakes in Spain, in France, right off of the eastern coast of Great Britain, the UK today. Earthquakes occurring in China, all over the world. And today I was watching earthquake activity. I was watching it very closely, almost, well, from about 4:30 in the morning till late this afternoon. I'm observing a lot of earthquake activity stretching straight down the San Andreas Fault. A lot of earthquake activity just south of Los Angeles, California. Once again, more earthquake activity along the western coast of Mexico, the South Pacific, Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is everywhere. And excuse me. And, you know, something else that's been bugging me is our climate. And, you know, I'm not one of these climate change gurus or climate change nutcases. Okay. It is what it is. But the fact of the matter is today, late today, Suspicious Observer came out with a late afternoon video, and he was showing information proving that NOAA has been skewing and lying about this climate change based on information that was coming out. And man, that's kind of totally out of his character. And I mean, thumbs up for him for actually stepping up and divulging this information to everyone. So we know that there are a lot of lies and deceit out there with everything going on. And as the doctor had stated one day, you are looking at the largest, the biggest cover-up ever known to mankind. And it's playing out right before your eyes. Maybe some of you know it. Maybe some of you don't. Maybe some of you care. Maybe some of you don't. But for the people that do care, you're here. And we're going to cover a lot of this. I'm sure all of you heard the statement from the President of the United States, Donald Trump, today in reference to Korea, North Korea, and what those nutcases over there are doing with, you know, nuclear weapons, the possibility of nuclear strikes. They were having, you know, weird announcements in the UK. I heard today there was an announcement about some, you know, bunkers and, you know, the people be prepared. I heard this was going on in some of the South Pacific countries, Guam. There was something coming out of Guam. They told the people to be ready for a strike. As far west as California, Hawaii, they were passing out radiation bags. You know, folks, I don't know whether to think that this is all completely true or they're trying to stage some type of false flag. You know, I mean, we all know it's possible. I'm not going to get into the whole conspiracy thing, but we all know it's possible. And, you know, what really gets me is that no matter how crazy you are, no matter what kind of a lunatic you may be, in reference to Kim Jong-un, you have to be completely freaking insane to try to go up against some of the biggest superpowers in the world surrounding you. You know, Russia, China, and the United States. So basically, you're committing suicide for yourself and all of your people. Because the statement that Donald Trump made today, he's like, I'm going to burn your country down, basically. So, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, what does that guy in Korea, what does he have to gain? They're going to destroy his entire country. So there will be nothing to gain. He won't survive it. There's no way. Will they get some missiles shot off? It's a possibility, but the fact of the matter is, we don't know what the truth is. We don't know. We don't know what make-believe is. They could plan these false flags, and we don't know what the hell's going on. All we know is there was a major explosion of some kind. How it went off, we don't know. Now, earlier today, folks, I was looking at some of the magnetosphere and the magnetopause models, which I do every single day. I was monitoring a lot of the sun over the past 48 hours, and there's a lot of really weird things going on up there. And as I was monitoring the magnetopause and the magnetosphere, I quickly noticed something that was not jiving. And that was some of the other models that were showing that we were a solar wind stream was vastly and fastly approaching. So when I was looking at the modeling, which was in real time, the timestamp at the bottom just didn't match the video model. It just didn't match. And my immediate thought was, okay, they are downloading normal looking video for the magnetopause, the solar wind, and the magnetosphere. All three were identical. Okay. The timestamp information was going by very quickly, but the video information didn't match the timestamps. At the same time, we have earthquakes popping off all over this planet. We had an earthquake swarm in California. We had an earthquake swarm out at Yellowstone. We had another earthquake swarm in Lincoln, Montana. All of Alaska. The whole west coast of Mexico. What is it? What's the name of the country in the Middle East? Kyrgyzstan. Earthquake swarm. Big one. China. Another earthquake swarm. Big ones. Earthquakes popping off in just really weird places. So to me, that's only a sign that the Earth is under tremendous pressure, tremendous stress, and that lava's moving around inside of our planet, big time.
Yeah.
And we got, you know, I don't want to sit here and act like some damn fear monger, folks, but you know, when I say we're living in the sign of the times, we are really, really, truly living in the sign of the times, and we don't know what the hell to expect. I walked outside at 4:30 this morning, and it was 53 degrees when it should have been around 72 in August in the Northeast.
52 degrees.
Yeah, it was 52 degrees Fahrenheit. It should have been 72.
That's bizarre.
Exactly. Now, it's been like that for the last couple of days. And then around 10 o'clock this morning, guys and the chemtrail planes, they came out like freaking Armageddon. I mean, they were everywhere around the western part of the sky, right in front of the sun, blacking it out.
Well,
but the day before, we just had crystal blue skies, and myself and the doctor were saying, you know, it's very eerie. I had a very eerie feeling yesterday. The doctor felt the same way, and we're thinking to ourselves, man, this just, you know, my day just doesn't feel right. Something is happening. Something's happening. It's really bugging me.
Yeah.
Can't put my finger on it. What do you think, Doc?
Well, first of all, the earthquakes tells me immediately there's something going on in the magnetosphere. But when we looked at the magnetosphere, and to me, it looked like a cartoon. It didn't look real. So I think they possibly not letting true data through to the models. They just putting in numbers, and they hiding the fact that something's happening. Because we have the earthquakes that tell us that something's happening. The earthquakes have suddenly increased. I believe we even had one in the New Madrid seismic zone today. And we had lots in Europe, all across Europe. It's just the earthquake activity has suddenly picked up, and that's obvious. So, and then the other thing we have is all these lightning strikes, and people have been reporting the Schumann resonance is up. And that tells me one thing. There's something going on with the ionosphere. The charge is increasing. The ionosphere is probably increasing in size and shifting downwards towards the surface. That would decrease the size of the cavity, which is between the top of the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth. And that will change the resonant frequencies because of the size of the cavity changes the resonance. And that would change the Schumann resonances. So I see that there's something major going on with our ionosphere, with the magnetosphere. And that would be to be expected because the coronal holes, what's happening with the sun, the huge CMEs we had showed me that acceleration of solar particles from the sun would increase, so the speed of the solar wind would increase. Also, all these objects and so on, the density and the speed should both increase. We know the cosmic rays are off the charts. We had measurements a few weeks ago that were, as far as I'm concerned, quite catastrophic, a 13 and a 19% increase. And it's probably even higher now. And where are these cosmic rays coming from? I think they are coming from the sun. The sun is not able to hold on to high-speed particles the way it had been able to do in the past because of these objects pulling on its magnetic field. And the fact that it's getting weaker. And I have hypothesized that when this happens, the sun, as it gets weaker, it starts turning, basically doing the same thing that a star, an aging star would do as it started its red giant phase. And that is, it wouldn't be able to hold on to its plasma as well. Also, all these objects are pulling on the sun's plasma through the magnetic fields. So this is what we would expect. We expect cosmic rays, which are very fast moving ionized particles coming from the interior of the sun. And these particles come right through the magnetosphere. They often get right through to the surface. Sometimes it's not the actual particle that impacts it, but it would be, say, neutrons, which are very damaging. And then we would also get a lot of damage to our cells. We also have a depleted ozone layer. So the ultraviolet light that is impacting our planet would get through. That's the UVC, which is very damaging. So when we're out in the sun, our skin would feel like it's getting burned almost immediately. And that's what a lot of people are feeling. So we have radiation and it's off the charts. And there's something happening. I know there's something happening. I think they are hiding what is happening. I also think that this war, well, it might be a real war, but in a sense, it is a false flag because don't forget, the governments of the world are united in hiding what is happening with our sun from their population, from the population of the Earth. They are working together on this. If they can work together on this, I don't think the war is a real thing. I think they are using the war for a purpose. So I guess that's what I have to say about that. I have written this article about the eclipse, basically called it a sign from God. And yeah, we could go into it whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. How do I have a feedback?
I don't know.
I was listening to myself talk just a minute ago. I could hear that all day.
Last time.
But so Jeffrey, what do you have for us, buddy? What's happening out there?
Okay.
Can I do a screen share real quick?
Yeah, no problem.
I think this is pretty, to me, it's pretty rock solid for the lens array that I've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to make it real quick here. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay, we got it. Just click on what you want to share.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay, do you see the
There you go.
Starnberger?
There
Starnberger.
you go.
I'm sorry, I called it Starnberger because I must have been hungry. Okay, so this is right, Starnberg, whatever. Okay, so this is a Starnberg from my yesterday's post, and I want to show you something that's just not even debunkable here. I'm going to go back one frame. This here, take note, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. This is supposed to be the moon. Oh, everybody see that?
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning in Germany. Yeah, the moon. Well, that's what we say it is. And I want to take capture of it. Now, yeah, well, you know, that's the position of the moon anyways, okay?
But the sky is blue.
Yeah, it just gets better, so just hang in there. Okay, this is going to blow your mind, okay? And you got to watch the rest of the video because it's synchronized with all the other crazy stuff that I caught at the same time. But this is just, to me, the most compelling one. All right, so this is actually pretty exciting. In the next frame, 10 minutes later, I want to take your attention to that. See this circular thing?
Oh my goodness, yes. That's definitely an object there.
Somebody got a phone ringing. Okay, see that? And see it. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay. Distraction is now gone. Okay, so let me do the next frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's send this out. Next frame. Be blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Planet right here. You see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
But I ain't done yet because what we're gonna watch. See what skeptics would call this a lens flare, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We want to call that a lens flare. Well, let me just keep advancing the frame here and behold. Do you see the reflection on the water?
Oh my dear Lord.
A lens flare is in the lens. So how could a lens flare reflect off the water?
Exactly. So it's a real object.
Exactly. So
it's probably part of the lens array, as you say.
Exactly. And you can see it pinching off. And we've seen actually this object in the air and in the clouds at various times. So I thought that was pretty compelling to see that you can even see.
Yeah, it's a real object, definitely.
How you see how it's pulling the focus out and getting the projection down here from this, where the actual planet is in this area. So yeah, I just thought I would share that with you for now.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
Right. But I had some other ones that was pretty cool. Maybe we can get into it.
Yeah, but Jeff, I always kind of associated that image with a holographic projector. I know that both with the moon and the sun, they have to have one, so that someone pointing a telescope at them would actually see features that you would associate with the actual objects, the sun and the moon. So, I've always thought they have the simulator, they have the lenses, and they have a holographic projector. It's a whole system that they are using.
Right.
Yeah. So they would have real objects there somewhere.
No, and when I caught that, I'm like, wow, I finally had caught what I've been trying to show people for the longest time. And those spots that I've been showing in my videos, and one of them actually had the dark spots, you know, the plasma spider or whatever. When the sun gets behind that, I've actually caught the dark halos.
Wow.
But it's very hard to capture these cameras when you get the alignment just right, because that's what the ones that they deleted for hours or days even.
Oh my goodness.
So it's very difficult. When you can catch those, you can see what I was talking about. So I'll return the screen back to you guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, you You want to see something really, really freaky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was.
That reminds me of Twilight Zone. You want to see something?
I'm going to show you some video. I'm going to show you some video real quick that was captured on the International Space Station. And yeah, I don't even know what to make of this. But I'm going to show it to you.
You can charge them later, or you can complete the charge and then do the work.
Just watch.
To the radiogram. 6385. Do you have any questions regarding this radiogram? No, not yet. You know, if I come across some issues, I actually can ask the team about it. You know, I think actually the radiogram is very clean.
What the heck? Where is that at?
International Space Station. Just watch. Just watch.
Okay, let's.
Sorry. Okay, I understand that you are.
Oh my goodness.
For the answers to the questions. Yesterday we had a working group meeting. Vladimir Alexeyevich was present at this meeting, and he listened to all the information, but the decision hasn't yet been made yet. I think that it will be a positive. Well, let's hope for that, Sergey in Moscow. So the deadline for when I will give you the answers is not later than Friday. So we have some, I haven't received any pictures that you were supposed to downlink via the radiogram 6347. It's the preparation of the hardware. So the soldiers that he was taking pictures of the mirror and other things, and we have not received this picture.
So is the background noise from the people on the space station?
They should be on LSP. You know, we did not find them on the.
It looks like plasma to me. It's hexagonal in shape.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
It's hexagonal, so it this is crazy. But it looks like
I'll tell you the truth. Listen, man, when I saw this, I just
it's plasma, and that thing in the middle looks almost like it's a fluid.
well, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just hold on.
Oh my!
So the curators of all satellites.
It looks like a fluid.
The satellites are ready for the EDE. As for
That's crazy.
and Tanyusha,
Oh my goodness!
only saw pictures of Tanyusha, and you know.
Is that one of those telecores?
If we
I don't know. It could be. It's spherical, obviously.
and we will have to train there. So what do you think will happen to this satellite?
It's unbelievable.
So from the very beginning, I told you that I assembled antenna and assembled the cover, and I took pictures and took video and disassembled.
Wow.
If we
Wow.
use the full assembly,
It's like there's something floating inside or
active acceleration.
on this fluid surface. It's
Well, that's the end of the video.
unbelievable.
The feed got cut off. You know, I just don't know what the hell they were doing earlier at on the International Space Station. That video feed was captured. I don't know what the hell they were doing. I don't know what the hell that object was. Just some really, really weird stuff. I don't know. I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm not going to say anything. I just let the video, you know, whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, you know, I sit on stuff for a year sometimes, so I freaking till something I can say something about it.
Well, that just came out today. Yeah.
I've never seen
Wow.
anything like it, that's for sure. The fact that it was hexagonal would suggest to me that it's man-made.
I don't know what the hell it was.
What are they doing to make it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Sounds like a lot of voltage, maybe. Like they're
I don't
creating
know. It
plasma
looked like-
bubbles. It's weird.
Yeah, it was definitely the red cloud looked like plasma to me.
Looked like they were doing something weird up there.
Yeah.
But you know, hey, you know, it is what it is. Every single day, you know, it's you know, it's something new. I was looking at some of the stereo imaging today. You know, just checking out all these objects whipping around at the bottom of the sun again, in and out of the sun's corona. And once again, I notice a slight shaking of the sun. I live streamed it a few hours ago, and you know, a few people asked, "Hey, you know, is it possible? Is that the camera buffering?" And no, I mean, I've been watching. Yeah, I've been watching the stereo and SDO for a long, long time. I know I know whenever they, you know, rotate the camera. I know when it buffers. What you have to understand and what you have to realize is that was 48 hours of footage on the stereo. Not even 48 hours, about a day and a half. And you know, it's sped up a little bit, and it's in time increments, I think, of I don't know, 15 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. So the slight shaking that you see the sun doing, that wobble, is not occurring that fast like it is in the video. It's ever so slight. And you know, scientists know that stars like ours, they do wobble, but the wobble takes, I forget how long, years and years and years or something like that, or whatever it is. And
yeah, it was like supposed to be 26,000 year wobble.
Yeah, something like that, you know. But this is actually, in my belief, and also the doctors, is that the sun is only wobbling like that when these other objects are zipping around, and through the sun's corona, you start to see the interference occur.
Yeah.
And
now, it's very significant to me that this is happening to the sun, and it's getting more and more dramatic. And I first figured out that this was happening in October of 2016. But don't forget, the sun is moving all the time. It's moving through the galaxy. It can do whatever. The planets are attached to it. So whatever motion the sun has, the planets are supposed to follow it immediately, because as far as everyone knows, if it's the gravitational force that's attracting the planets to its main star, it's instantaneous, or it's just about instantaneous.
Right.
There cannot be any delay. Okay. But we do know, I know now that it's not gravitation. It's probably a magnetic force that's keeping the system together. But even if it's a magnetic force, whatever movement the sun makes, the planets would make at about exactly the same time. Basically, that's the only way it will ever work for us to have the orbits we have. So the fact that we are now actually seeing the sun moving, it means that it's moving with respect to the Earth. In other words, the Earth, and therefore the other planets, are no longer completely attached to the sun. What are they attached to now? They are still attached to the nucleus of the solar system, but the nucleus does not just contain the sun anymore. It contains a whole lot of other stars. It contains some very large ones. The blue one and the larger one we saw on July 23rd, they are extremely large. That one was larger than the sun. So we have stars like that at the center of, or in the nucleus of, this planetary system. The planets are now no longer just attached to the sun. They attach to the whole group, or the central mass, or whatever you can call it, but a whole group of stars is now in the nucleus. And that's what it shows. In other words, it corroborates the fact that we have more than one star in the nucleus of our solar system now. That's the only way.
There's a whole lot of other stuff out there, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's almost like our inner solar system is being invaded. And 2 days ago, one of my other subscribers, who has some pretty sophisticated software, planetary software, and just before we were ready to go on a live stream the other day, he sent me some concerning messages, and he was looking at some views. I believe it was Neptune and Uranus. And what he was trying to show me in these computerized pictures of these planets, he basically said that it was almost like they were being ripped apart. And, he was super concerned, and I didn't have a lot of time to discuss it with him. So I told him, I said, well, look, I don't really know what you mean. Send me a couple of screenshots of that. And yeah, they were pretty wild looking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get in contact with him tomorrow, and I'm going to see, excuse me, I'm going to see if he can get a better explanation to me, or for me, what I was looking at, because again, it was some really kind of really scientific looking software that he was using. And if there's something else out there that's further than our inner solar system, I mean, hell, are we looking at something else from deeper space coming in?
Yeah.
Also,
I think, Scott, it is likely that these objects are still coming in. We have a whole lot of them here, but I think they may possibly be quite a few that are still coming in. So they at different distances from the sun. It could be that some went by Saturn or Neptune, and these planets have a lot of gas. These objects may have attached themselves magnetically to these planets, and they would start withdrawing material and from them, because that's what they do, as they connect magnetically to these objects. So that may be what is happening.
You know what I'm going to do here real quick, just give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and screen share these photographs. I mean, again, we didn't have a lot of time to talk, so it was hard for me to understand what he was actually showing me.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys see this?
Not yet.
Let me see if did I screen share that properly?
No, you're not screen sharing, Scott.
Oops. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Let's see.
that is Neptune.
That's Neptune, huh?
That's Neptune. What kind of but how are we looking at it?
I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. He caught me right whenever we were getting ready to go on the live stream, like 5 minutes before we were ready to go on the air, and he sent me a couple of these images, and he's a pretty bright guy and very in-depth into astronomy. And I said, well, what am I looking at here? And his last quote was, it seems or it looks like that Neptune and Uranus are being ripped apart.
Well,
so, I don't know.
It still looks spherical, but we see these like point sources on the surface of the planet. There are 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
what are those?
I'm not familiar.
That could be points where these objects may be connecting to them. They almost look like, if it was the sun, it may have looked like sunspots on the sun, isn't it?
Now this was another
interesting.
This was another screenshot that he sent to me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I mean, this is I didn't have a chance to talk with him further to discuss what he was trying to show me, but I'll be in touch with him tomorrow to find out what he was trying to show me.
It looks like vibrations reacting with one another.
Yeah, it looks like almost like when you drop a stone in a pond, and then you see
Exactly.
the waves coming from the point source.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. You see like 2 or 3 ponds interacting with one another.
Yes.
Ripple effect. Interference patterns.
Mm.
Yeah, and he said, now this is the shot that he sent me from Uranus. This is the shot from Uranus.
Actually, it's pronounced
interesting.
Uranus, but that's funny because we can always say, it's always swamp gas coming out of Uranus. So
Yeah.
Yeah, this object doesn't quite look spherical to me. My goodness.
well, again, welcome to the electric universe. And
Yeah.
someone said that what we're actually looking at is a standing wave. Well, in the Dr. Walter Russell model, that what we're seeing is the particles are where a standing wave, when you got two waves on the same frequency and the same pattern. Like I said, you would get that same wave if you drop two equally sized stones at the same time in the same pond. And the way that reacts at the center where they hit each other is where the particles are.
Yes.
Where
Yeah, that's interesting. Yes. In my last article that I wrote yesterday, I was looking at these stellar cores, and I saw how they were connecting to each other. And they were connecting to each other not in any haphazard form, like you would expect if it was a gravitational interaction that was attracting them to each other. They were connecting on the side so that the hole in the cloud could always be seen. And then they were connecting to each other, cloud to cloud. And from that, I could immediately see that the shape, they are conforming to the toroidal shape. So they have the magnetic fields, of course, it's toroidal. But the structure of the object is all toroidal. That's why they have this toroidal envelope around them. And you can see the two sides of the core on either side. So maybe we should go through that document sometime, Scott, so that I can show the people.
Do I have it? Did you send it to me? Which?
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I did, because it was one of the articles that I added to.
Do you know what number it was?
I think it's number 15.
Well, let's just take a look here.
Yeah. To me, it was
stellar cores changing our sun.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, so I go through and I look at, the images we've seen of the smaller ones. And I examine them carefully. And I see they are in the sun's corona. So this is the first one. It's obviously three-dimensional. It's got the coronas, the foreground. It's got a bit of cloud of the, it's a plasma from the sun's corona around it. This one is bright, so to me it's been there for a while, enough to be able to start emitting from the core. And the way I think it does that is that it has a thin film of plasma surrounding the core, and it starts emitting light from there. Okay, we can scroll down a little bit.
That was from the 195 angstrom.
Yeah, these are the images that you captured so well. And here, what we have is we have one of these stellar cores. That's the small object at the bottom. It's a plasma connection between either it and the surface of the sun, a level further down in the sun's corona, or it's actually connecting to another one of these objects, because it's possible that the point further up, it looks like a bright spot. It may be another stellar core, but a bright one. But you can definitely see the form of the connection. So it goes up and then sideways and then up. And what is that form? That is the type of, it's not a straight line, as you can see. So this is a Birkeland current, basically. There's a bit of a spin on it. That's what we see there. So this is how they connect. So you can definitely see the connection is electrical in nature. And basically, it's plasma connecting the two objects.
You see that, Jeff?
No, does anybody see it? I see it under your little icon there, but I don't think it's being shared.
Oh yeah, you can see it on the big screen. You have to
There
click.
we go.
Yeah, yeah. Click over on mine.
Okay, so on the bottom there, that little white, this connection being the Birkeland current.
Yeah.
This object right here.
Yeah, that. Too bad we couldn't get better resolution on that, but that could be definitely looks like a pattern of a Birkeland current.
Definitely, yeah.
And I wonder what happened if it had a Z pinch where it pinched off. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't always get the Z pinches, but
No. But
Wow.
you see that it's this electromagnetic connection always between these objects. It's just amazing. And all I see all the time is over and over again that the gravitational interaction has nothing to do with what's happening with the sun or even in the solar system. I've reached the point where I don't even know that the gravitational interaction even exists.
well, that's what I'm trying to get gravity out of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
We've been brainwashed. You know, we've been told that gravity has its own intrinsic properties. It's pulling objects
Yeah.
to itself. When we know that the electric universe is the only force in the universe that's pulling, and its side effects of magnetic and electric natures of that.
Yeah, that's right.
So
So
I'm trying to replace with gravity with
that's right.
magnetic poles.
Yeah, you're right. Every time we look at these objects, all I see is evidence that there is no gravity. Now, what do we have here? We have the blue stellar core and the sun. It's about 1/3 the size of the sun. Now, you do realize that an object that is a solid, dense core, 1/3 the size of the sun, is actually more massive than the sun if we were to think of it as mass.
Right, right.
So we have an object that is connecting obviously to the sun because we see the plasma connection between the two. If this was gravitation was attracting the two objects would collide. You understand that they are not colliding.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we get so much flack from people.
Yes.
When they say if they were that close, we'd be getting a reaction, like because we see in the movies that they just suck each other in, we collapse. When in
Yes.
fact, the nature of magnetics that they actually repel each other unless they're within very close proximity. Then they're drawn to each other.
Mm.
So they're
yeah,
actually almost bouncing off each other.
Exactly. These objects, to a certain extent, they repel each other as well as attract each other. There's a kind of a balance. It looks like they are two forces that is an interaction of two forces. But yet, you know, the sun itself looks like there's always two forces. There's the force that is trying to accelerate plasma away from the surface, and there's the force that's attracting plasma back towards the surface. There's always the balance of these two forces. I don't think they're gravitational. I think they are electromagnetic in nature. And we see the same thing with this object. This object is just sitting there. And it's more massive than the sun.
Yeah.
So if it was gravitation, the sun would go into orbit around it or something. You realize
that's why you got to throw all the all gravity freaking math and their
Exactly.
mathematical lamestream science out the window.
Yeah.
And that's why electrical engineers are getting more credit in plasma physics, who are observable science, not something that black holes, something we've never seen or ever will see.
That's right.
You know, it's observable science is the real science.
Yeah.
Something that's yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, also the fact that these objects that we are seeing are cores of stars, basically. You can see it's solid because it has grooves. And these cores are so huge. And that tells you that these huge stars that would produce cores of this size are not turning into neutron stars or they turning into black holes. They are not. And that's another thing that refutes the fact that gravitation has anything to do with stellar evolution.
Yeah.
These objects, if they are this large, it would have been very massive stars as main sequence stars. And according to accepted theory, they would turn into black holes. But
Well,
here,
like you said, the key word was sequence stars, because they're not following the sequence.
yes,
They're skipping sequence. They're jumping all. It's freaking blowing them away. The more they observe it, they realize we've proven to be liars,
that's right.
or the debunk the science. And now they're freaking. They got to keep up this scientific facade with black holes and new theories that you can't prove.
That's right. And that's one of the signs of they don't know what they're talking about, because they will go into a wild theory, which is extremely complicated to the point that no one can see whether the hypothesis or their findings is ever true, because you cannot, because it's either too complicated or you cannot actually observe to.
Exactly. That's why they purposely violate Occam's razor, because they know that they can't be proven, so they make it more freaking insane and make the numbers so immeasurable and so unobservable that it's just they would just be embarrassed that people spent tens of thousands of dollars in colleges wasting their time getting a degree in freaking bogus science.
That's right.
That's exactly what it is. Doctor, in this graph that you drew,
yes,
this is basically what we were just seeing in the actual photograph, correct?
That's right, Scott. So this is the way these objects are connecting to the sun. And it's all about magnetic fields. These objects have large magnetic fields. They pull on the sun's magnetic field, they pull the sun's magnetic field out towards it. And as you know, the magnetic field always has to be in the form of a circular loop. So the sun's magnetic field opens up at the sun's surface, and then the magnetic field lines go out and they close at the object. And that causes the particles from the sun to spiral out along these magnetic field lines towards the object. And then particles from the other objects spiral along the returning field lines to the sun. Now, these objects, most of them have gone through a sort of a white dwarf phase where they have, they may be helium core, white dwarfs or something like that, but basically they have ionized particles that are heavier than hydrogen or protons on their surface. And they also lower energy because they don't glow brightly like the sun does. We can see by how they glow. So there's an exchange now going on between the sun and these objects. So these objects are getting bright, high energy particles from the sun, and what's returning to the sun is not as bright, or plasma that's not able to glow as bright. It's probably maybe heavier ions, and they are lower energy. So the sun is becoming more like these objects, and these objects are becoming more like the sun. Basically, that's
just like that's a complete connected current.
That's
well,
right.
That's why I think this whole thing is a long cycle of just, again, these two objects, the dwarf stars and our sun, a giant balance.
That's right.
You know, they're seeking rest.
Yeah.
They're seeking a point where they're going to be of equal value.
Yeah, they're seeking equilibrium. Everything in the universe is about equilibrium. So there is this exchange so that eventually every single star in the nucleus of this planetary system will have exactly the same energy and the same brightness. And this is what we see, say, in the Lumen AB binary system. We see two stars moving together with exactly the same brightness. They both brown dwarfs. Well, they say they're brown dwarfs, but because of the cloud around them, I would say they're brown dwarf stars or stellar cores, both of them. Either forming already moving towards the only being able to emit infrared light. They still are emitting some light, but they are exactly the same brightness. Now, according to accepted theory, it is very difficult, impossible to explain how we have a binary system with two stars with exactly the same brightness. Gravitational collapse cannot explain that. The first thing is...
Hey, can you back up a second?
Yeah.
Something just flashed past my brain, but did you just say that this object is a third of the size of the sun?
Yes, the object.
You did. Wow. Okay, so that's almost prophetic.
Exactly, and it's a core. Don't forget the sun's
You say
core
this is
is
going to
about
balance with our sun.
the sun's core at the moment is about twice the size of Jupiter. This object has a core that is 3.3 times the size of Jupiter. It's larger than the sun's core. So
Well, the reason I
basically,
brought that up was because even the Bible says that during the bowl judgments in the Bible says that the sun will be struck and it'll lose a third of its light.
well, it is losing it, to tell you the truth. It's getting darker and darker. And now we understand why, because of these objects. And the smaller ones are there in the sun's corona by the thousands. And they're all absorbing plasma from the sun. And some of them are now, that's why some of them have this bright spot in the center. They are starting to be able to emit light, very bright light. So they're rejuvenating back towards their the white dwarf phase. They don't change in size. They only gain a certain amount of plasma. They never go back into the main sequence phase where they have huge layers of gas. But they do gain often, some of these objects gain enough plasma to look like stars again. They have a thin layer of plasma around the core. It can surround the whole core so that they look like stars. So there's this lemon shaped looking star in the solar system. It's lemon shaped because the core is not spherical, and then it's got a thin layer of plasma on it, and it's acting almost like a main sequence star. We see sunspot activity on it and things like that. So it's unbelievable what's happening. But if we scroll a bit further down, then I start, okay, this object is fascinating to me. Okay. Look what
Could you share that screen? We're not only seeing it on the
click on my square over to the lower.
That's better. Cool.
Okay. All right. So this object,
we still don't see it.
Okay, just click on Scott.
Click on my square.
Okay, yeah. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This object, look at it. It's got a bright spot in the middle and 4 dark spots equidistant around that central spot.
Yeah, yeah.
They are distributed 2-dimensionally around it, okay? Now, the bright one is always the one that has more energy because it's emitting light from the surface of the core. That's why it's bright, okay? Then the 4 dark ones have dark cores still. They're not able to emit light from the surface of the core yet. They all enveloped in this cloud, okay? So they have formed one object. Basically, it's a cluster of 5. But the fact that they are connected in the way they are is amazing to me because it shows the symmetry of the field that they generate. And the field is not spherical. If it was spherical, we may have had one of these dark ones on top of the white spot or somewhere along the side. So it's not spherical. So to me, immediately when I saw that, I said, oh my goodness, it's toroidal. And you see that it's not anything to do with gravitation because the gravitational field is spherically symmetrical. So an object would connect to it on any spot on the sphere.
Well, I saw a thing in the electric universe that kind of goes what you've been saying here. And the reason why we see like the pentagram or the hexagram, the bottom of Jupiter and stuff.
Yeah.
Because those 4 equidistant planets have their own magnetic field also, keeping them equally spaced from each other.
Yes. Yeah, and so when I saw that, and if we go further down, I explain it with a diagram. I explain the toroidal shape of the whole thing. So what we see, we see here the front view of one with a dark core and the side view. Okay, you can definitely see the toroid shape of the cloud. Why does the cloud form in that shape? Because the magnetic field it generates is toroidal. And then some of them that have been in the sun, as we see on the right hand side, will start being able to emit light from the surface of the core, and then they look like that. Again, the envelope around them is toroidal in shape. And then we see the one that connects, the four that connects around a bright one. This is the pattern that they form. And they form, you see, the side of the cloud to the side of the cloud. So again, this is how they connect. It immediately tells you it's nothing to do with gravity. It's all about the magnetic field between the objects and the shape of the magnetic field that they form. And to me, this was very revealing.
Jeff, is that freaking you out or what? Knowing that these objects are out there and they are actually in formations, for God's sake.
Yes, they are in formations, and it's a formation that tells you that gravity has nothing to do with it.
Well, you know what? Again, in the electric universe model that it is believed that from the subatomic to the galactic, everything has the exact same pattern.
That's right.
The way, well, we're seeing like the way molecules are being assembled, but we're now on a galactic level.
That's right. So now we know why solar systems are arranged along a plane, why galaxies are arranged along a plane. It's all about this. It's all about the toroidal shape of the magnetic field.
Yeah, well, I've seen this in the plasma bowl experiments.
Well, you see,
the same thing of how everything's equally spaced, showing the exact same patterns, reproducing galaxies and quasars and everything.
That's right, Jeff. Don't forget, I haven't looked at any of these theories. I am just building this theory on observing these objects.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
I'm just observing them.
Everything you're doing is something I've already seen.
Exactly. It's amazing, isn't it? But it's
it's so much more. It's a simpler, easier to understand science than this mathematical crap they're pushing out in the colleges.
That's right. And don't forget, I was trained as a physicist with all those theories. I've had to unlearn them, and by observing these objects, come up with this theory. So if we scroll down, I have something else to show you, because when I saw this, I realized, my goodness, but our solar system is exhibiting exactly the same pattern. Our solar system, look at that.
Absolutely. You know what? If you had pictures of the modern day quasars, it would follow that same toroidal pattern right here on your lower left screen. The way that the quasars are emitting light through those jets right to the top in the plasma bowl experiments.
That's right. And I believe that pulsars are actually white dwarfs, because the stars, when they lose all that gas that they are enveloped in in the main sequence phase, they go through the red giant phase where they start to let go of the plasma around them, their layers of gas. And I think what happens now is, as the star's energy drops, the ionization layer, which was on the surface of the star, starts moving inwards towards the core. And then the outer layers, the star is not able to hold on to it anymore. It starts moving out into space, and the star expands. And then as it reaches the white dwarf phase, the ionization layer is right there on top of the core. And when that happens, because the surface area is so much increased by such an amount, the star becomes intensely bright and intensely energetic for a while, and then it can shoot out these beams of radiation. And
right through the tops of those toroidal, right through those cones.
That's right. So it's right along the axis of the star. Where the magnetic field goes inwards and inwards on one side and outwards on the other.
Now, according to the plasma bowl experiments, after it's ejected out, it gets recaptured at the equator. And gets drawn back in. And at the center of this thing, because this whole thing is spinning, they have what they call a magnetic flip ring, that the atoms or the particles are being flipped, polarized, and being trapped in this toroidal configuration, and it keeps gaining mass until it stretches further and further, gaining its magnetic field until the magnetic field can no longer contain it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's you go back, maybe I could show you the primary field experiments, but we're able to reproduce everything that you said here. But it shows the particle thing. Again, particles are a theory, and I personally don't believe in the actual particle. I think everything is actually pure energy. Nobody's actually seen this.
Probably.
It's all theory.
Now, what I have studied is Alton Arp's cosmology. Basically, he's an astronomer, and he saw that the Big Bang Theory had been falsified because he saw objects, and a lot of them are quasars, which are high redshift objects connected to low redshift galaxies. And through his observations, he came up with a cosmology theory, which is, well, it's very different from the Big Bang Theory, of course. And what he actually saw, and I could see it from the photographs which he showed in his book, was quasars being ejected from active nuclei galaxies. So these are galaxies that have extremely bright nuclei. And some of them you can actually see in the photograph are ejecting quasars, and sometimes the quasars are still inside the galaxy, and they are ejected along the axis in opposite directions from the core of the galaxy. And then what happens, and according to him, what happens is these quasars in the course of time unfurl arms and become galaxies. And so quasars are basically baby galaxies. They turn into galaxies. So galaxies give birth to other galaxies. They basically eject them, because when they get very bright, they become unstable and they eject matter. And according to his theory, the matter actually changes, has intrinsic redshift, and the redshift has to do with the age of the object. So it changes and it changes in quantum steps as well. That's what he discovered. So to me, this was very fascinating that it came out. And then when I saw that, I realized that some stars are extremely bright, and they're probably doing some of the same thing. They are actually ejecting matter, maybe fissioning and turning into binary systems. So you get two stars out of one star. And that may be a better explanation of why so many star systems are binary.
Well, you know the Birkeland current, right? The guy that discovered the Birkeland currents had discovered that in the Birkeland current, there's so much energy being moved, propagated through the Birkeland currents, that the current, at the point there's so much current, you get a magnetic field. The magnetic field between the two currents draw close to each other. Now what happens, the Birkeland currents are twisting around one another like rope. Now what happens is the Birkeland current is so tight that it knots up, and it binds up more magnetic field that captures more of the energy. And it's kind of like you take a pair of two ropes, twisting it tighter and tighter and tighter, so that it's beyond a Z-pinch, and it actually bursts a star. You know, that's where they say that during these huge Birkeland currents that travel across the galaxies, these are where the stars are really being born.
Yeah, and basically it's two currents side by side, and of course a moving current will generate a magnetic field.
Right, in opposite directions.
Which forms circles, you know, loops around the current, and then the two currents will attract each other. So you get then the Z-pinch effect, and so you get magnetic fields being pushed together. Basically, you get what we call magnetic reconnections, and then there's this huge release of energy, which is probably contained because of the Z-pinch effect, and that's possibly what gives birth to these stars then. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is fascinating. What I've been discovering, basically these objects, and this is why the powers that be don't want anybody to observe these objects, because it changes everything about what we've been taught.
Well, it lets them know that they're just a bunch of liars, and even the people that wasted their college money and these lying professors who got them off spinning around trying to get the string theories they're never going to string together.
That's right. Yeah, the string theory is actually does not actually come up with any observable.
Unobservable, impossible to observe.
Yeah, it is impossible to observe, so it's impossible to refute. Basically, it's a game in mathematics. I call it them mathematical fairy tales.
Yeah, it's a church of science, and they become the priests, and they're
Yes.
freaking ruling in this world.
Yeah. Now, with this one, I actually wanted to show that this is the one that Scott took on May 12, 2017 of the blue object. As you can see, it was losing material, but the material was still in the shape of stripes. And what are the stripes? The stripes conform again to the toroidal symmetry of the field. That's why the material on it, and that I believe is part of its envelope that all stars have. But this one is obviously ionizing the material, because the one we saw higher up, it had a lot less. It's ionizing that material, so that's part of its envelope, and it's exchanging it with the sun. So the sun is getting this material that was on the surface of this object, and it's absorbing the sun's plasma from the corona. So yeah, so this is, but what we see here, the stripes conform to the toroidal symmetry of the magnetic field. So everything is toroidal, it seems, because it's about magnetic fields. It's amazing.
So maybe we should shift gears for a little bit for the Bible prophecy side of this thing. We've been on.
Okay.
I was about to ask a couple times.
I know everything you have to say is fascinating, but I think
where does this all?
Not everybody's deep into science like you and I are, man. I'm in love with science. We can go talk forever, but not everybody's like us.
Yeah, I do. I have written that article on the August 21st, 2017, but now I look at it in terms of a sign. I did at the beginning explain some things, because I've written an article on the eclipse already, and then people had all sorts of questions about why the shadow moves in the opposite direction. So I actually drew diagrams to explain that.
You know what? NASA has an animation I thought made it pretty clear myself.
Yes.
Maybe I can pull it up while you're doing what you got to do. I think it's just, I don't know. Some people just can't wrap their brain around a three-dimensional effect.
Yeah, I do explain it in terms of two-dimensional diagrams, and I hope I made it a bit clearer to people.
Okay, I'll see if I can find the NASA.gov video animation of this event.
Okay.
It's going to show the Earth. It's animated. It's pretty cool.
Mm.
So, you go ahead, and I'm gonna. Let's see. I'll screen share it when I pull this up.
Okay.
So, Doctor, what do you think over the course of the last couple of days, things we've seen going on around the world? Let's wrap this this biblical prophecy around this, because, like I said in the beginning of this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, we have three important events coming up.
Yeah.
We have August 21st, total solar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
We have September 23rd coming up.
Yeah.
And then now added to the calendar is this flyby by this asteroid that the space agencies lost track of back in 2012, and now it's back. The asteroid name is 2012 TC4, and it's set to make a flyby, right above our planet at 4,200 miles.
Yeah, well,
and that's pretty close.
Yeah, it is pretty close, but it's not that big. And
well, let's take into consideration. They did make the statement that
Mm.
They don't really know that they think that it's between 30 feet and 100 feet
Mm-hmm.
in diameter.
Okay.
So that's the last report that I got on it. And that's a pretty broad spectrum in,
Yes.
you know, as far as sizes go.
Yeah, well, it could do some damage, but it will not be cataclysmic. So,
I mean, yeah, that would be an Earth, you know, ending event. But if that object, whether it be 30 feet or 100 feet, hits a metropolitan city,
yeah.
or right off the coast
Mm.
of a major metropolitan city, there's going to be millions of people in very serious danger.
Yeah, but they do actually have laser weapons that will be able to destroy this type of object.
Yeah, that's what some of the headlines were, that they were all eager and jumpy and happy and doing backflips because the article said something about them getting ready to test their defense system, their asteroid defense system.
Well, they've had it for some years, so
I wonder if they're going to use this on Korea.
I don't think so. Yeah, I was going to say in my article, I say that this eclipse is a sign for the nations. I don't know. We'll look at it just now, and I do use some Bible verses, and some of them I'm sure Jeff has used before. But there is the eclipse. There was another eclipse that happened on August 21st, but that one was in 1914. And that was over what was then known the Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman Empire was destroyed because of First World War.
Yeah, I heard that brought up today.
Yeah.
And oh my Lord, you know, there was so much that was coming out today from a bunch of different channels. And you know, I mean, they're not out there. I could tell they're not out there looking for views on YouTube. I mean, they're
before
actually,
I forget, can I remind you that there is a verse in Isaiah about them rebuilding. I believe it was in 911 even. I hope, I need your help to help pull this up out of my memory, but it's in Isaiah saying that, but it was God speaking to the children of Israel.
Yes.
Saying, I'm going to tear down, I'm going to tear it down.
Yes.
But the children said, but we will rebuild.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Isn't
and that's exactly, and the children, and then because they rebuilt in rebellion, the Lord said, therefore I will judge you.
Yes.
You remember that verse? Because that verse was written on the first tower that they erected on the New World Trade Center.
oh my.
Yes, I remember that because they were actually saying to God, we don't care what you say, basically.
Yeah.
You know. Yes,
Jackie
I
Shaw,
remember.
Michael
It
Obama
was,
and Barack Obama, right? On a
yes.
Sharpie on that thing.
Mm. Oh, yes,
I
it's
just remember
in
where that was in
Isaiah 9. And they say
Isaiah
the
9.
bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut
Sycamore
down,
tree.
but we will replace them with cedars. Therefore, the Lord shall set up the adversaries of Rezin against him and spur his enemies on.
We need to put that on the screen in case anybody wants to doubt this, because there is a lot to that. Because you said the bricks have fallen.
That's right.
And then they rebuilt with hewn stone. So they're talking about bricks, talking about carved stone.
That's right.
And then the sycamore tree. Check this out. When the 911 was struck, there was a beam that came down and struck a sycamore tree. At the time it was destroyed.
That's right.
And they replanted it, and it was destroyed again.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a big little freaking ritual about it.
Yeah.
That they try to rebuild it, but we will rebuild. So we rebuilt the freaking tower and destroyed.
Yeah.
Now this is all from Jonathan Kahn bringing it to mention.
Yes, I remember that. So they were being rebellious towards God because God was telling them, you need to repent. That's why this happened. And
Exactly.
they basically were refusing to repent, and they were rebelling against God. And therefore, and that caused them to be destroyed.
So maybe you could pull that verse up on the screen, because, you know, there's a lot of people say we're just making this stuff up, but this stuff
reading
is
it
written.
directly from my Bible, Jeff. So maybe you can look it up. It's Isaiah 9. And
Isaiah 9.
Isaiah 9, verse 9.
Yeah, okay. And verse,
And then
that's
lower
awesome,
down,
right?
from verse 10, it says, the bricks have fallen down, but we will rebuild with hewn stone.
Right. And you show pictures of the sycamore tree that was struck by a thing that fell during the, I said, verse 9.
And 10 and 11 then.
10, 11.
Yeah.
11. Right on. Wait, we did say Isaiah 9.
Isaiah 9, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let me screen share it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. Let me get out of this real quick.
If someone could look up on the internet of Barack Obama signing the New World Trade Tower at that time, when they made a big ritual out of it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so here it is. Right, on 911, right? Therefore, the Lord, the adversaries of Rezin
against him,
and join his enemies together. And look, so we had ISIS come and freaking attack us, right? The Syrians, well, who are the Syrians, right? Aren't we attacking them now? The Philistines behind, they shall devour Israel with open mouth in his anger.
Yeah.
Where the bricks, we said, oh, here we go, verse 10. The bricks are fallen down, but we will rebuild. We'll build with hewn stones. The sycamores are cut down, but we will change them to cedars.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's exactly what they did in New York.
That's
when
right.
the cedar tree was destroyed by the 911 tower, they put a cedar tree in its place. And guess what? At that church building where the cedar tree was, where they dedicated America to God.
Yeah. So it's the same pattern. Whatever happened with Israel then is actually seems to be happening with the United States now.
Right. Now, I got a little thing to add too, that if you take the kings of Israel, there have been 44 kings of Israel. Now, sometimes the kings serve twice. Does that number sound familiar?
44. Yeah, Obama was the 44th.
Barack Obama was the 44th president.
Yeah, he was. Oh my goodness. That's
pretty crazy coincidence, right? Again, there is no word coincidence in the word Hebrew, so.
That's right.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. I was wondering if we could find a pull up the verse with pictures with Obama doing the ritual of signing the thing and the sycamore tree. This is all stuff that Jonathan Kahn had brought to repent. He talks about all the stuff and the 7-year cycles.
Yes, I've read both his books. They're very interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Very, very interesting times that we are in.
Yes.
Any more Bible stuff we could pull up real quick?
We could go through my article. I have some verses in there.
Yeah, let me go ahead and jump back on that real quick.
Well, I do explain some things about the eclipse first, but then I go into some.
Oh boy, we can still talk more about that too.
Some basic stuff.
Oh yeah. Like how we get this eclipse to go from. Yeah, the sun goes from east to west, but the eclipse goes from west to east. You know, it's not. I understand it, but some people are confused by that.
Yeah, some people. Yeah. So Scott, do you want me to go on with this, or shall we go on to the other article?
Well, we're almost finished with this article because, because you know,
let me finish that. That is very important.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have the sunspot. This was what was first called AR2665. It's now called AR2670. And on July 23rd, it had this huge CME. And at the time, we also saw that very large stellar core that was larger than the sun, slightly larger than the sun. And now we see this gash in the sun. And if we look at the 21.1 nanometer, we see that this is not a coronal hole. This is actually material on the sun that is not as bright as the normal plasma. And that to me is indication that the sun, there was a large particle flux transfer between the sun and another object. It was likely to be that very large stellar core that we saw. But the fact that the sun got suddenly such a large amount of much darker plasma indicated to me that the sun can get dark very quickly with these very large stellar cores around, because that's what happened here. And I think it happened on July 23rd, because that's when we saw that very large stellar core very close to the CME. And it probably provoked the CME, because don't forget, these objects pull the sun's magnetic field lines out from the surface of the sun. So that would cause whatever CME was likely to happen to suddenly be a lot stronger, because the acceleration on the plasma would have been much greater. So to me, it's fascinating. That's why I call this object the darkening sun, because suddenly we see this dark patch on the sun. And this is what's happening. It's getting darker because of these objects, because of the particle transfer between the sun and these particles.
Yeah, I've never, you know, all of the years I've been looking at the sun, studying things, you know, with our sun, I have never, ever seen any type of, I just called it a blemish.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like that. And this is one of the highest definition photographs that you'll ever see on YouTube or the internet or anything of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how to get them now. I know I know how to get the super high definition photographs. I can't get them, excuse me, I can't get them from the stereo imaging, but I can get them now from the SDO, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very appropriate to call it the blemish, Scott.
Yeah, it looks like a big blemish.
It looks exactly like a big blemish. So, and these images that you are now able to get are amazing. So, yeah, it's so good to be able to see such high definition.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'm going to bring that in just a little bit more so everybody can just see that. That is just
unbelievable.
It's just the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen on the sun occur after a major CME. I mean, I mean, at first when I thought it, I'm like, oh my God, that CME blew a hole in the sun, you know. But then as I obtained the super high definition photographs of it, and me and the doctor analyzed them, and she was like, oh my God, you know, I mean, that was a damaging blow to the sun, that CME. That was a massive ejection.
Yeah, as you can see, they are still plasma loop type structures. It's still swirling plasma, but it's dark. That's the difference. It's darker than the usual coronal material we would see around here. It's, to me, is just extremely interesting. It's not a good thing that our sun can get dark so quickly, but it's extremely interesting.
So would the darker portions of the sun represent the higher magnetic fields, and the charging and then the discharging electrons side would be the brighter side of it?
No, the thing is, it's because of the material it's made out of. It may have been heavier nuclei, perhaps. It could be helium nuclei instead. But either way, it's just not emitting the same kind of radiation that you would get from normal solar particles. Because what is this? This is the 17.1 nanometer. So it's obvious that it's not emitting the same intensity of light that the normal plasma particles would be emitting, because it's a darker brown color. When I first looked at it, I thought, is that a coronal hole? But then I saw that it's not. It's not a coronal hole. It just is not emitting as much light as other portions of the sun.
Listen, I'm gonna go there one more time with this this image.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't know what it is, but whenever I look at this image, I'm just going to go out there again on this. I just literally see the depths of hell. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can literally see figures. I don't know, maybe I'm looking at these pictures too long. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the other day, whenever we were doing our live stream and we were looking at one of the other images of this this big blemish, as I call it, I literally picked out, you know, an individual that was literally looked like Jesus on the cross, hands extended out to the sides, a clear definition of a man, and his feet crossed at the bottom, over top of him.
And not be surprised if you see something like that.
I mean, it blew me away. I could see all of the faces down below looking up at this individual. You know, I mean, I don't know, folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a spiritual component to everything that's going on. That's possibly why you were seeing all this. You know, sometimes we look at clouds and we see shapes in the clouds, and I think with the darker pattern it may be easier to see these things, but it also shows that there's a kind of a spiritual component to what is happening to our sun.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt now. Yeah. I mean, with everything that's going on, ladies and gentlemen, you know, over the course of the last couple of weeks, and after having several conversations with Jeff and also the doctor, just seeing the things that are now actually starting to occur, it's giving me the creeps, man. I mean, I'm just going to be straight up. It's giving me the creeps that it just seems that these things are becoming reality. It's almost like all of this. Yeah, it's almost, I'm just going to use this phrase, but it's almost like it's written in a book already, and we're going chapter by chapter. And what is that book called?
Exactly. Everything's a script. That's why.
Exactly.
You know what? That's why Christians are quicker to handle this truth, because we see it's like the script is now being played out. We just couldn't believe it's in our time.
Yeah.
But we are in the times.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why. Oh, you know what? Yeah, go ahead.
It is a, you know, I've made this statement before, and the doctor has, and I think you have too, Jeff. It is truly amazing to be living in this time, experiencing all of this and seeing all of this. But how do you look at it? Do you look at it in a bad way? Do you look at it in a good spiritual way? I guess everybody's going to have their own opinion, and, you know, everybody has a right to that, but things are now starting to correlate just a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way that John, the Apostle John, the way he read it in the book of Revelation, he was told to go and eat the book. It was sweet in his mouth and bitter in his stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a bittersweet experience, because if you're on the right team, it's going to be awesome. But it's sad to know that so many people reject the things that we say. You know, when I hear a troll comment, I hear things like, from I'm a genius to a psychopath. Okay.
Who, you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what they say
I hope
about
you have
me.
a team of, you know, psychiatrists. I hear they keep coming up with new crap to try and dishearten me. I'm like, you know, you knucklehead. It's like, it in a way it makes me sad to like so many people aren't getting it, you know,
Yeah.
and some people will. So I'm just going to hang in there. If I get one person that gets a positive response out of it, you know, we're just planting seeds is what we're doing. The seeds of faith.
Yep,
'Cause
absolutely.
if we never said nothing, then this would just be a complete surprise to everybody when it came.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we've
I
been,
mean, I mean, they've labeled me Hitler, criminal, fearmonger, you know, all the
fear
swear
porn.
words,
Yeah.
all the swear words in the book, you know, they've labeled me. But yesterday and the day before, I am now being labeled a domestic terrorist. And these
You know what?
idiots are, now listen to this, Jeff. These idiots are literally trying to report me to the NSA as a domestic terrorist. And again, today, they were trying to report the doctor to the United States immigration officials and the United States consulate to have her visa revoked.
Man, people hate the truth, don't they?
Yes.
Boy, they despise it. But little do they know,
Well,
the individual that was making the false statements to federal officials is committing a federal felony. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you in on this because this statement needs to be made anyways. But I was pre-law in college, and I changed my major and went into business. But anyways, besides all that, I've always studied the law. I know it pretty well. And when I worked for my father's company, we had a very huge company, and we had a lot of international employees. At one point in time in the course of a year, we had sponsored 50 of them from other countries to work here in the United States for our company. So I was also very well versed on immigration law. And the doctor already has an immigration attorney. So, you know, getting to what I'm trying to point out is this individual that is trying to report her to immigration officials and federal officials is actually making false statements to these federal officials. And after 9/11, because of situations that were occurring with, you know, just regular Americans that were kind of scared because maybe their neighbor was Muslim, and they were just reporting people just because they had a Muslim neighbor. So all of a sudden they were just labeling these people to be terrorists. Federal officials were, you know, rounding these people up, and the ACLU got involved in blah, 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 blah. Well, in 1996, they, you know, revised some of these laws. And now, if you just make false statements, allegations to federal officials, it's now punishable by a 5-year prison sentence. And now they're taking it very, very seriously. Well, they've been taking it seriously since 1996. And the statute, you know, I refreshed myself with it today whenever myself and the doctor came from her immigration attorney at about 10:30 this morning. We showed him the video information that was put out there on YouTube. We identified the person to him, and he said that within the next 72 hours, if any report was actually made against her, whether it be at the U.S. consulate, to the immigration officials, those are federal employees. Those are considered federal agents of the state of the United States. This all falls under U.S. code, U.S. federal code. If this individual continues with his elaborate lies and hoaxes to these federal officials, he's going to end up being charged under this statute USC 1001. And it's going to be a world of trouble for him. And this is all based on trying to get the doctor kicked out of the country because they're claiming that she's here making money. But what they don't understand is that according to immigration law, she's not making money through a U.S. corporation or a U.S. company or a U.S. business. She's not employed by any U.S. business. She's writing a book. She has a YouTube channel, and people are helping her by their donations and their contributions. And I can tell you this much. This morning, she received several very nice donations from several people over in the UK and here in the United States, and one gentleman in Australia. And all, you know, there were some very, very nice comments that were made that came with their email. They were very loving, very appreciative, and very thankful for what she's doing. And I mean, I admire her. I admire her intelligence and her tenacity to stand up for what is right. With everything that is being thrown at her and myself and Jeff, you're included, we all go through it.
Yep.
But it is a good feeling to come on here in these live streams and see the people in the chat, read their comments, read their emails, and know that when I lay my head down every night to try to get a few hours of sleep, I know that I have tens of thousands of people out there rallying around all of us because we are truly trying to do the right thing. We may not have all the answers all the time, but you can guarantee that we're trying. We're trying. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who has gotten involved with the doctor's papers, who are now putting videos together on their own YouTube channels, getting that word out and getting that information out there. You're all doing a hell of a job. And, you know, Jeff, a lot of the information, buddy, that you've come up with over the last year and a half has been groundbreaking and very impressive. Doctor, the same goes for you too.
Thank
you
you,
know,
Scott.
you know, both of you guys have done some incredible work, but that's what we're trying to do. You know, that's what we're trying to do.
So have you.
Yeah, you know, I do my best.
You do a lot. You do a lot of your own discoveries and your own understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally turned the tables upside down a few times here.
Yes, you have.
Over the course of the last year and a half, and
you have a great platform to get the truth out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get even better too. You know, the doctor was proofreading her book, and you know, some things came up, and she wanted to add some things that were very, very important to the book. So she did all of that, and I think you're almost finished, aren't you, Doc?
Yes, Scott. It has taken me a little longer, but I just, you know, I still needed to proofread it one more time, and I think you still need to proofread it once. And yeah, you're going to do some work on some of the images. So, but soon we will be publishing it, very, very soon, within a couple of days.
Hey, can I share with you guys a very unusual sunset that I had copied from a subscriber? It's pretty amazing. I copied it before, so I knew better not to try and watch it during a live stream because you know the bandwidth issues.
Yeah, go ahead. Screen's all yours.
Okay, let me turn on the screen share. I forgot the YouTube subscriber that sent this to me, but tell me your opinion. I think it kind of exposes the lens array and everything else. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so actually I do know the subscriber. I'll back out and show you the channel it was. Now just watch this sunset. This isn't real time. I'm not even going to fast forward it. It doesn't take long.
Okay, now that's weird. That's weird already.
That looks like an object partially into the ocean.
Yeah, but look, it pops back out.
Oh my goodness, look at it.
Right? How does that happen? But wait. And then it like dissolves in the middle, like forming a ring.
Oh my goodness. That's definitely a device.
I mean, he
That's
showed us,
not,
and then it disappears.
oh my
And
goodness,
you
that's
see
a
a remnant.
device. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me, you that's just more confirmation about the lens array. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah. I would call it a sun simulated system. Yeah, a sun
Yeah.
simulations, definitely. That's not natural. The sun cannot do that.
Right. It doesn't like pop back up. You know, it just
Yeah.
shows you it pulled out of. I think what it looked like is it when it came into the full screen, it either fell into in or out of that lens.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
there's
why I
no
think we
way.
see.
I mean, we only see the sun move across the sky because the Earth rotates. So the Earth doesn't suddenly stop rotating and then rotate in reverse in order for the sun to come back up. That's impossible.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty wild looking.
That's impossible. No, that's not the sun. That's for sure. That just proves that we do have sun simulating sun simulation devices.
Well, you know, I wanted to well, let's jump back to your article real quick, Doc.
Okay.
We're
thanks.
almost done with it, but I want to get into the total solar eclipse real quick and touch on a few other subjects because, like I said, folks, there is so much going on out there that we do know about
Yeah.
and that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And you know, I've got some huge suspicions brewing in my mind. Call it conspiracy theory, call it whatever you want. But this total solar eclipse is like the biggest event on the face of this planet coming up August 21st. And I think the United States government is scrambling like hell to do whatever they can to make sure that this total solar eclipse is completely ruined for the millions of people that are lining up along the path of totality to see something like this in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
My
will.
opinion, I think they're going to have to turn the simulator off if we're going to see it.
Yeah.
Because they'd freak out all the more. Like, hey, where's the solar eclipse? Why we still see light?
Yeah. But they can fake it because they have moon simulators and sun simulators. I'm sure they can fake it all along the track if they have to. Or otherwise they will chemtrail and make sure that people in most of the areas are not able to see it anyway. And then they'll make sure that in a small area they do a really good job of faking it where there are lots of cameras so then everybody can watch it on TV.
Yep. So what do we have here, Doc? This is the object that was captured in that big CME.
That's right. This is the dark stellar core that we saw within that CME. It actually seems to have its own envelope. So part of the object is covered in this plasma-like material. And we saw in some of the images that you had, I could clearly see that it's separate. It's a separate plasma from the CME plasma coming out from the sun. As you can see, it's got a dark core. This one is not emitting light from the core at all. But it obviously, these objects, you know what they do, they absorb plasma from the sun. So it probably gained quite a lot of plasma that day from the sun. And the sun, of course, got the plasma, the material that it ionizes with its own electric field. And there was an exchange that day. And
yeah, that was a pretty amazing day there.
Yeah. That was a huge CME. And it's unbelievable that the sun actually produced such a huge CME. But it's likely that this object had something to do with it.
Oops, I just lost our photograph there.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's amazing. It was larger, slightly larger than the white circle on the occulter. So it's slightly larger than the sun. Don't forget, this is a solid core. This is huge. A solid core larger than the sun. This could have been, as a main sequence star, this star could have been 20, 30 times larger than our sun. And it should have turned into a black hole if gravitation had anything to do with stellar evolution, and it didn't. So here we are again, more evidence that it's not about gravity.
Yeah, we're definitely
Yeah.
living in some times right now that are just, I don't even, sometimes I don't even have words for for what I'm actually feeling, what I'm actually seeing, because, you know, this year already, in 2017, these first, you know, 7.5 months, 8 months, you know, we've made a lot of discoveries. We've caught a lot of agencies lying, skewing information, deleting information. And, well, let's just face it, ladies and gentlemen, if there's nothing to hide, then why lie?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Jesus even said there's going to be this and that, and wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes was the first thing mentioned, by the way.
Yeah.
And it said it's going to come upon this world suddenly. So, you know, this whole thing about, you know, there was eating and drinking, giving in marriage, and it was just another day, business as usual. And then bam, something big happened. So that tells me, like, nothing's going to be like something fairly epic. It's going to be so sudden, so fast.
Yeah.
The world's going to be before they can even figure out what happened, things get worse. Which tells me that the whole chemtrail thing, you know, was allowed by God because, you know, otherwise it wouldn't be sudden destruction. We're going to, like, oh, look at this. We're all going to get destroyed on an exact date, and the whole world's going to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So
Doctor,
again, the whole thing's prophetic.
Yes, yes, most definitely is. Doctor, in conclusion on this article, and this was a fantastic article, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't have a chance to review this, although I did see your video that you did make on this, and it was once again, you know, absolutely fantastic article.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
In your conclusion on this.
Yes, so the conclusion is quite comprehensive. So we have smaller Earth-sized telecores that surround themselves with plasma from the sun's corona, as well as immerse themselves in the sun's corona. Some emit light from the core, and some have dark cores. They cluster together or connect to each other magnetically as well as to the sun, and thus seem to be able to absorb energy from each other. So these objects, as well as the solar system, conform to a toroidal symmetry expected of a magnetic interaction. The sun jolting shows that it is no longer the sole central magnetic field produced in the solar system. The dark region around the sun is an indication of a huge particle transfer in which the sun received a large amount of particles from a large stellar core, and is an indication that the sun can get much darker very quickly.
Much darker.
Today I was making some observations on the SDO, and I'll be quite honest with you. You know, almost 2/3 of the sun's corona was literally disappearing right in front of my eyes. And once again, you know, there's not too much that shocks me nowadays.
Yeah.
But whenever I was looking at the 48-hour loop of this imaging, the sun's corona was almost non-existent, and that was kind of terrifying to look at.
Yeah, last year already I thought with the coronal holes increasing in size that the sun was turning into one big coronal hole. And don't forget that wherever you have a coronal hole, you have cosmic rays of very high energy particles coming from the surface of the sun. And this radiation is impacting our planet and basically damaging our DNA and making people sick. So it's a terrible thing that is happening with our sun. Let's put it that way. It's definitely.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to bring this up so everybody can see what I was seeing today, which was very disturbing. And there you go. Where's the sun's corona? It's barely there.
Yes, that's right. On the sides, almost the whole top part of the sun. There's no You don't see any corona on the sides. It's amazing.
Yeah,
actually.
total lack of discharge.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So, you had pictures of like the sun like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That would be pretty damning evidence. I've seen
That's right.
it before.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could pull it up. I could pull,
Well, that's
Yeah. I've written several articles already about the sun getting weaker and darker over the years, especially if you compare the 2011 images with the 2017. They both 3 years away from the solar maximum, so they're good to compare. And you can see the sun was much brighter. The corona was much larger. The coronal holes were much smaller in 2011 than they are in 2017.
Yep, and there's another one rolling around the upper left-hand
Yes.
side. That's not going to be too much, but we have that large donut-shaped one in the center that is facing Earth right now. Solar wind, definitely racing towards our planet here.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to see an increase in earthquake activity, even more than what we're seeing already. And this is a composite view of the sun. And you can see the large coronal hole that's forming up here. You can see the coronal hole facing us right now, the top of the sun, bottom of the sun, and the corona. Just if this wasn't a 3 composite view, we would be looking at just about nothing.
That's right. It's
And that's scary. I mean, that's scary, man. I mean, if you don't know very much about the sun, folks, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't even know.
That's why I think that, you heard about the German sun that they built, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That can melt. It has a focus point, and they have a demonstration. You can watch it on video on the internet, that they're melting a 1/4-inch plate of aluminum. I think they know that's exactly what they're doing. They want it. And the Russians launching a pyramid-looking, very ultra-thin device that's going to be the 3rd or 2nd brightest object in the sky.
Yeah.
Now, why are we putting all these light bulbs up there? Do you think it's going to be dark?
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And
I
I
saw
just
the
thought
article.
of something. You know that ISS image? What did we see at the beginning? We basically saw 2 huge electrodes.
Yeah.
And they were discharging, and then they were building up. Basically, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to produce a star? Because
yeah. Like
You
cold
see?
fusion or something, right?
yeah,
Yeah, in the vacuum of space.
that's right. And then we see that the swirling plasma and the
You know what?
center.
They built a working. It was below. I remember, it was a cold fusion star. A huge project. It was right below the CERN Hadron Collider. It was like an anti-hadron collider.
Yeah. Okay.
They really spent a lot of money injecting all this plasma into this point. And if you can get enough plasma, they're trying to create a star. Is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they do that with the tokamaks, but they do it at high temperatures. But basically, I've discovered that what's happening on the sun is we don't have fusion in the center. We must have it on the surface, so it's happening at a much lower temperature. But it's powered by the electric potential of the sun, because you can get cold fusion partially helped along by electromagnetic potential, basically. Yeah.
Hey,
So
we've got a lot of curious listeners about this solar eclipse and the effects of it.
Yeah, we better get.
Apparently, we haven't covered enough of that, because it's something next on the horizon. How many days are we from that?
Yeah, we don't have many.
I could say this. I could put, a couple. We can go bounce off each other, but the moon we're looking at now, when it turns to a new moon, that's the solar eclipse.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got anything? I know that it could potentially. I do believe it's going to be wiping out the cell phones, because cell phone towers work on IP. You can have only so many IPs on a network, so they can only carry so many carriers.
Yeah.
And same with the receive transmit devices of GPSs. So there goes that.
Mm.
So, but I don't. Maybe they're more interested in the visual effects. We said it's
Yeah.
going to be chemtrail. Does it going to look like hens? You know, the dark halo thing. They're going to turn on the simulator.
Yeah.
They're going to turn on something.
So,
I can guarantee you. They're going to turn
Yeah.
on.
perhaps.
They're not going to let you see this thing in plain view. I'm telling you that right now. Because
Well, I tend to agree with you on that one because I've been watching the effects of the fake sun when in my demonstrations with the fake sun, when you throw down the low chemtrails, you get a very big sun. And with that, you get to wash out in brightness anything that's orbiting around the sun.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, let's see. I condensed my demonstration to a very quick. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hey, can I screen share with you real quick?
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, bud.
Okay. Let me. I kind of compressed my demonstration real quick here. Okay, you guys see my demo here, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in my demo, this light on the ceiling. It would represent the true sun. The flashlight represents the fake sun. I believe to be the altitude of the space station.
Yes.
And so, with that in a heliosynchronous orbit, I've used this paper representing clouds or chemtrails, more likely chemtrails.
Yes.
So that when we get low altitude clouds and chemtrails, we get a large sun. In that case, this would be washing away, and with its sheer brightness of the objects orbiting near the sun.
Uh-huh.
And then with low altitude, we're going to get the appearance of a small sun.
Yes.
Okay. And then the reason why, I'll fast forward this a little bit, I compressed, is, let's pull this up. Okay. So now we've got the fake sun in place and the sun, and we've got a celestial body coming between the two. And now what we're going to get is these dark sun halos. And the closer the object is to the sun, we get the sun dogs. And the closer it is to the Earth, the sun dogs are pinched off. And now we get this. And this was over Fox News. Oh, no, this was not the Fox News one, but this was actually more compelling. That we could see in this classic sun halo we're seeing worldwide. That because the sunlight is, well, we could watch the diameter change on this thing. And notice the outer diameter of the sun never changes, but the inner diameter does. You see how it...
Yeah.
See how it's small there?
Mm-hmm.
We have the lack of chemtrails at high altitude. We got the small sun. And then we get the big sun fluctuating back and forth.
Yes.
And we even get towards the end here, we could see the total absence of any halo on this side of it. I mean, if there was a halo, then halo all the way around. So that was, in light of what we see here, you can see how this thing just changes and fluctuates in size.
Yeah.
So with this taken out of the way, no longer to produce this brightness, they're going to have a different plan here. Or crank up the simulator so much that it does have the entire altitude, the diameter of the sun the entire time.
Yes.
So that this brightness is the entire diameter of the real sun. Just theories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that to be true, but I'm just speculating what the eclipse is going to look like.
Yeah, but even if it is speculation, it's, I mean, it's right on target. And people have been seeing the sun halos now for more than a year, and now over the course of the last several months, the sun halo has almost become an everyday thing in life.
Yes.
It's to the point where people are just basically almost becoming desensitized to seeing it. You point it out to somebody and they're like, oh, so what? I've seen that.
You know what's funny? I can share some with you, but I was in an area and they had an eclipse. This started to happen. it was a clear sky, and he started a chemtrail, and then I said, watch, we're going to get that sun halo. We're going to get an eclipse. And sure enough, it started looking like this dark halo. And this was high noon.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to point it out to this guy. Does that look normal to you? And I point it out, and he just looks at me. And he goes, that's the same as it's been for the last 50 years, however old the guy was. And then he walks away, wow, you don't see that. And then it dawned on me, like, this guy's wearing sunglasses.
Well, you know what? Listen to this. Earlier this afternoon, like I said, the doctor had an appointment to go to, and I took her to the appointment, and we were outside talking with this lady. And when we walked back outside, I just said to the doctor, I said, oh my God, look at that. In 30 minutes, they have literally crisscrossed the sky in chemtrails. And the lady that was with us, she didn't know what we were talking about. She's obviously in her 40s, and me and the doctor were standing right there, pointing directly up into the sky, pointing out the crisscross patterns. And I even pointed out to the lady a plane in full flight, blasting off a chemtrail, which had to be hundreds of miles long, and it was still going.
Yeah.
And the lady just looked up, and she was completely dumbfounded.
Yeah, but she didn't want to know anything about it. That's the thing. You could tell. She didn't want to know. She didn't want to be told that there was something strange going on.
Exactly.
She wants to stay in this belief that everything's normal. She doesn't want us to open our eyes. So
I know they don't want that cognitive dissonance effect.
yeah, that's right.
You know, I see like the chemtrails that they've been doing for a long time, and all the world has been numb to so many things. What they say, like a frog, that if you throw a frog into boiling hot water, he's going to react to the hot water and jump out. But you stick a frog in lukewarm water and slowly crank up the heat, he will say to himself, this is normal, this is normal, this is the new normal, this is the new normal, and fry to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, they're programming people, man. They're programming people around the world, you know, just about anybody that they could get their hands on in whatever country. You know, I mean, I know we have some impoverished countries and some countries out there that, you know, aren't that up on technology and things of that nature. And I'm starting to feel guilty in a sense that I can't get to those people. It's been bothering me now for weeks. And that's why I asked the doctor if she could, you know, because she's bilingual and she speaks Portuguese. And I was asking her, I said, listen, you know, let's try to do something for these people in Brazil. I mean, you speak the language. That's a massive population in South America. And then I started thinking about the rest of the people in South America and Mexico. And then I started thinking about the rest of the people around the world in these other countries that we don't speak their languages. We can't get to them. And, you know, it just started hitting home with me these last couple of weeks. And it was very depressing because I felt, I don't know, I just felt my hands were tied and there was nothing more that I can do. And I legitimately felt guilty that I can't communicate with these people, and I can't make them understand that some of them live in very dangerous areas. In the case of, you know, really erratic weather, which we're already seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, we already know that people are dying on a daily basis because of these things. The floods and the mudslides and the landslides and just all of these things that are occurring right now. I hope each and every one of you do realize that, you know, there are people that are taking their last breath in some of these moments. And, you know, that's very sad. And when you're in a position like myself and the doctor and Jeff P., this is one of our main goals. Our main goal is to inform all of you. So, you know, maybe you have a way to protect yourself, or at least you have the knowledge of what is happening. And like I said, over the course of the last couple of weeks, this is actually getting to me in that sense that I can't get to these people.
Mhm.
You know?
Well, you know what? I do it on the job all the time, man. To me, it's a conversation starter. You know, just to plant a little seed to see where they're at spiritually. I'll say, hey, you ready for the American eclipse of 2000? Heard something about that. You know, then I'll kind of drop something about the Feast of Trumpets, or I'll talk about the last time we had an eclipse just like this in 2000 or 1914. The Ottoman Empire was the end of the Ottoman Empire. And if I get that glazed over look, I'll quickly change the conversation. If they're still going, I'll get into Donald Trump and his birthday being 777 in 2017. And the Feast of Trumpets is such a big theme.
Now, you know, we covered some of this stuff with this this solar eclipse.
Mm.
We all feel that there's going to be maybe some type of conspiracy involved around it. We'll see. But now let's move further down the calendar real quick here to September 23rd.
Uh-huh.
Now
Can we pull up the Stellarium with that one?
Yeah. I don't.
Okay, you keep talking, and I'll get it set up so we can view it, and we can all see the dates here.
Excuse me. You know, I've got a lot of people sending me a ton of emails, and listen, folks, I'm trying to get to them as fast as possible. You know, I go through several hundred, and like, you know, 1,000 come in. So
yeah,
I'm getting to them slowly but surely, and you know, I'm recognizing all of them. But like I said, folks, we've got some dates ahead of us here that are going to keep all of our eyes wide open. And at any given,
I gotta say about the emails too, real quick. That you know what, so many people give me emails and pictures. See, but you know, I have a full-time job. I actually work overtime for many hours, and if I can get to anybody, it's a miracle. So always be patient with me. I can't get to answer every question or read any email and go over photos and respond. You know, the little time I do have, I have to spend it, most of it, doing the research that I do. So
yeah, I mean, it takes hours, and like I said, over the last 48 hours, you haven't heard much from me because that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been in depth with so much around the world, and again, over the last 48 hours, I've been following some weather patterns, some things that are going on around the world very, very, very closely. And I'm not liking what I'm seeing, and it looks to be very dangerous. And once again, if you guys remember a few months ago, I told you once we got into more of the hurricane season that we were going to start to see hurricanes forming and threatening the Gulf Coast region. Well, what are we looking at right now? A massive hurricane moving in. I think it's called Franklin. It's only listed when I just last checked as a moving into a category 1, but where it's moving into, it's about to affect instantaneously 500,000 people on the coast of Mexico. And then we have another one forming, and it will possibly be a threat to the east coast of Florida. So again, we have to start paying very close attention to what's occurring with these weather patterns. These weather patterns have become very dangerous. They have become very fast, very quick. And the next thing you know, they're right on top of you. And folks, you know, whatever is going on up there in the heavens, these storm systems are producing massive amounts of water, massive amounts of rain.
I have some interjection to put into that with this storm as far as weather goes. But and some theories, as well as Christians I've seen across all over the internet, are sharing dreams that they see. Now, one of them is that I can't pull them up right now, but they said that the Lord had showed them dreams of the sky rolling up like a scroll. No, that's right out of the book of Revelation. He said the sky rolled up like a scroll. And it just hit me. As I listened to this guy, I saw a three-dimensional vision of what was happening at that point. Now, during the pole shift, the Earth moves and the atmosphere is reactive to that. And because the drag of the atmosphere across the clouds will literally roll up the clouds. It's when you're getting your rolling clouds.
Oh my.
You get it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Earth moves before the atmosphere moves, and it pulls it across. And,
Wow.
and then the other one was these round UFO clouds that never move for hours, 6-7 hours, just sit there and spin.
Wow.
Now, I believe it's the same timing that I see that the planet X, I believe, is hovering over that area, and the magnetic field is drawing it and keeping it from spinning with the wind, moving with the wind as it should. That's just, again, and then talking about the greater and greater hailstorms that we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Not only more, well, we saw one like over in Europe that in a matter of hours, it was like a foot of hail.
Yeah, over in
So now we're
Spain.
getting more.
In
It looked like it
Spain.
was snowing. Cars are getting stuck in traffic on hail.
Yep. It looked like
And
the
then-
streets of New York City in January.
Exactly. Oh, I got that stellarium thing up. You guys want to share it real quick?
Yeah, real quick, folks. This is the we'll get to Jeff here in a second. This is
Oh, okay, go ahead.
the hurricane that I mentioned that is just now moving ashore in the
Bahamas?
of Mexico right here. That's Mexico. Right over here to the left. This monster.
What category is that now?
It was when I just last checked before we went on the air, it was forming into a category 1, but the issue is it's a heavy rainmaker, and the area that it is going to impact, that encompasses about 500,000 people instantaneously. Okay.
I'm looking at an app for it now. It looks like it's a category 1, Hurricane Franklin.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about, looks like it's going to hit landfall in a couple hours.
Yeah, and then we have another one that is brewing way off to the right over here where my cursor is. And this bad boy, there's another one brewing here. And folks, I'm telling you right now, you are going to see a huge intensification of these hurricanes in the Atlantic. And I'm telling you right now, these are not going to be East Coast, Upper East Coast threats. I truly believe, from what I'm seeing and what I've been seeing, a lot of these weather patterns are going to move directly into the Gulf of Mexico. I think Mexico is going to be under very, very serious threat. I also think that the Gulf Coast of Texas, Louisiana, the whole entire Gulf Coast region is going to be under very, very serious threat of these hurricanes, and we are nowhere even halfway finished with this hurricane season.
How about Yellowstone? I'm going to start talking weather, man.
Yeah, Yellowstone has a lot of activity. Lincoln, Montana. I was just showing the
1,500 earthquakes, and now Mary Greasley, he's got a great YouTube channel. He's got thermal images of Yellowstone growing, and they were saying like the lava is only 6,000 feet below the people that are walking on it.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, can't believe they're walking on it. Like just 6,000 feet below them is hot lava.
Yeah, that's like a double stacked lava chamber, with the one that they found that's even deeper. But as you can see right here, I mean, you are seeing these hurricanes, and we're in hurricane season, folks. So don't get me wrong. This is what occurs out there. But from what I'm observing and from what I believe, the reason why we're seeing this cold spell, 25 degrees colder in the central part of the United States and parts of the Northeast, It's because my theory is that the Earth has actually wobbled backwards a little bit. So if you turn the Earth back just a little bit, now that colder air is now in the position to come further down through Canada directly into the eastern part of the United States. A 25-degree dip in average temperature in the dead of August in the summer in the United States is not normal at all. And you have temperatures now in the North Pole that are not normal. Why would the temperatures be increasing in the North Pole? Why? I just told you, if you move the planet back 8 or 10 degrees, now you put the North Pole in more sunlight, in a higher temperature. Even if it's 2 or 3 degrees in the North Pole, that type of temperature increase is bad, really bad. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of this mixing with this colder air and this hotter air, and we know what happens when those two converge. We're going to have some serious freaking weather, but I think it's going to be around the world, man. I think it's going to be.
Was that you that told me about the jet stream being bent below the equator?
Yep.
Can we see that? Did you catch that on video? Because I think that's pretty awesome.
I mean, I could pull the jet stream up right now on the where is it? Let me look for it. Here we go. Is that the global map? No. My computer's starting to run real slow.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I put it? That's not it. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it.
Oh, I got a good one for you. Can I? Let's see if I can pull this up. It's pretty compelling. Let's see.
Hold on one second. I got this jet stream thing coming up.
Okay, you go with that next.
My computer. This is going to suck up a lot of CPU right here. Yeah, because I mean the internet's been running slow. I've been testing my internet constantly, but what you're looking at right here, you're looking at the jet stream. It's almost non-existent. But you're looking at, here's the United States. Okay. And this is what I was talking about, folks, just a second ago. If you take, this is kind of jumping around a little bit because this is so much feed to handle. But if you're looking at the United States, and all of a sudden, this is a pretty level as far as the equator, the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
If you just tilt the Earth back just a few degrees on its wobble like this, now you're actually bringing that cold air straight down. And the entire section of the United States where the temperature drop is right through here where my cursor is. But now, look what you see down here. Whoa. That is the South Pole, the Antarctica. Take a look at that jet stream.
Man, that's all distorted.
Now, does somebody look at the cyclonic airflow and the air patterns? Look at these little cyclone air patterns, man.
Well, none of them are getting more and more hurricanes.
This is absolutely insane. So you saw the bottom of the Earth. Now, there's the top. What's ripping the jet stream apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, and we know exactly what it is, folks.
Right.
We know exactly what the hell is going on.
Yeah,
okay?
It's a wobble.
I've been studying weather for over 20 years. living in
Yeah.
Florida for 22 years and dealing with hurricanes, and I've been through some of the biggest ones in the past 20 years down there.
Well,
And
I got something that collaborates with that very story about the jet stream. If you want to share the screen for a second.
yeah, let me get out of here.
This
Yeah,
is
'cause this
just
is
on the
chewing.
same
This is-
topic here.
This is chewing up my computer here.
All right, here we go. Let me know when you see my screen.
Give me 1 second. Okay, it's all yours.
Okay. You see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. High
Well,
Sheerness
actually-
sees wind gusts just under 200 miles an hour.
Jeff, you're not sharing.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, Jeff, you're not being nice. You better share.
Whoops. Okay, there we go. How's that?
There you go.
Yes.
Let me put that. There we go.
Ooh,
Alpine Summit, 199 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness.
Let me see. We pull up the Alpine Meadows, 199 miles an hour, 184. Whoops. We lost that. But 199 and 184, 193, 153 miles per hour. Now,
Sure.
I am like near this area. I've lived there my whole life. Would never in over 40 years have anything close to those speeds.
Mhm.
where,
Never.
what, at what altitude are those speeds being recorded?
That's a rim at 12,000 feet.
Oh, shit.
And I'm telling you, I would been in the area forever, and I would lucky to get anything close to 100 miles an hour.
Well, check this out.
Only thing I could theorize is that was the jet stream being bent down over this area, and the planet X pressing down the atmosphere. Right, so we basically had jet stream speeds, right at near jet stream speeds.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up. That anyway says like, oh, if the planets were that close, we'd be seeing effects. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you blow that up, Jeff? Blow up your, expand your screen. There you go. Whoa.
How's that? 199 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah. Now tell me, we're not going to get some insane weather if we get this alignment with insane. If we get the magnetic pressure wave from planet X as it passes through, right at the perfect timing of a major storm cell, that's a disaster.
Well, I mean, I think that we are prime for just the wrong thing happening at the wrong time, man. And it's going to be.
I'll show you where this is on the Earth, just to show you real quick where this was. Give me a second. Where's that? Of course, I have to deal with the slow bandwidth. It shouldn't be take too long. So, what area we're talking about would have been right here. Here's Lake Tahoe. This area right here, these mountains, and pull up. This is the area that we're getting hit with nearly 200-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh my God.
And I know these lakes, these hills, these are basically just under 12,000 feet.
Wow.
This, well, this is South Lake Tahoe, so it would have been like right here.
Mm.
It was this area.
You know,
And that's where they got 50 and 60 feet of snow.
yeah, speaking of this area, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, if you've noticed over the past 72 hours, the increased earthquake activity in the state of Nevada from one point at the bottom all the way to the top. And that amount of earthquakes in Nevada is just, I've never seen it.
Hey, didn't we get earthquakes like near the Hoover Dam that freaked some people out?
I didn't hear anything about it, but yeah, that would really freak people out, boy, because that would be.
Because I could have swear we had an earthquake that was never heard before. And it was like right out of the movie that, I forget the guy's name, but it was an earthquake movie. And the first thing that happens in the earthquake for the big Oh, it's called San Andreas, the movie.
San Andreas with The Rock.
What's the first thing that happens? The earthquake near the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
And we had a Hoover Dam. Right?
They'll probably hide that information. I know they've been hiding a lot of things, taking a lot of earthquakes down too, taking them down rather quickly. I know that there's a lot of there's a lot of increased earthquake activity over in Europe in kind of odd areas, as I mentioned before. Spain, France, the UK had one off the coast today, Scotland, naturally the northern tier of Italy, but the Mediterranean region getting hit pretty good. And it's kind of weird to see like 3 earthquakes in France.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to see some trucker movies? How underground truckers, how they're shipping food supplies to the underground cities?
Yeah, you know, I saw that video a while back.
Well, there's like several of them.
Yeah, and because I was doing a lot of investigations last year before I started getting my information out there about Planet X, but I was looking and digging into all of this information about these underground Walmart tunnels from one end of the country to pretty close to out the Midwest. Well, basically Colorado.
Right.
They're pretty massive, and you could take tractor trailer trucks and drive, 2,500 miles.
Yeah.
Under freaking ground.
And they had on the Alex Jones channel that there was a caravan of looked like 100 trucks from Walmart and Sam's Club.
Yep.
Being escorted to these tunnels.
Yep. Going right in the front door.
They blocked off the roads and had a freaking parade of them.
Yep. I saw that.
Yeah. And,
so there's, nobody's going to tell me that this country hasn't been in preparation of something. Now,
right, seed balls.
They've been doing this now for about 30 years, okay? The fact of the matter is they don't have a crystal ball. They didn't foresee this issue with Korea 30 years ago when they started building all of this underground, okay? So it's not the threat of nuclear war. It's a threat of world disaster based on our topic. That's the bottom line. The time scale, just think about it. When Harrington made his discovery.
Yeah.
Before him, Carlos Ferrata. These people were already investigating and seeing what was coming. And now here we are over 30 years later, and this is the time that we're seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Gradually, well, it's going to come to a head.
Oh, yes.
You want me to play that trucker video?
Yeah, go ahead. Put that on.
Okay. Okay, you see it? This guy here. He's only one of like at least a dozen guys. So I'll get to the good part here. Let me know. Can you hear it too?
No.
No.
I think it'll come up in a second. I got the volume maxed out. He's not talking yet.
Yeah, they've been building this stuff, man, for 30 years. They have networks of these tunnels from Washington, D.C. and the New York area. They're all hidden, and they go down to the south and they go across the entire United States, and just out to Colorado.
We could pull up is the map of the 1976 leaked tunnels, and where some of these cities are and their tunnels are right underneath the Walmarts that they closed in April 15th, 2015. Right underneath it.
Exactly.
So this guy's interviewing a truck driver, how unbelievable it is. And he showed the entrance of the tunnel, water, food supply, and you can see there's the entrance of the tunnel. Can you guys hear that?
No, it's sometimes on the Google Hangout.
Yeah, I don't know if it can show you the volume, but here you can see him driving his truck under the ground.
Yeah, this is the one I
He's
saw.
blown away by the whole thing. And then, yeah, there is let's see, that's just one of them. They had another guy that actually drives underneath it. I think it was this guy. No, not this guy. Confirms underground beneath, chilling truckers. I think that one of these guys actually drives through it. Oh, this is a better, this is not as pixelated. So check out this one online. You'll find, you always give them a thumbs up. But yeah, there's a few of these guys that even, you know what? I saw a guy in Missouri. They just were in a car. They weren't even like, they just had free access and it looked like the same tunneling system.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they're like the beginning opening of the tunnel. It's like a facility.
Yeah, and you could see, oh, maybe this is the one. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the genuine deal. You could see the way they formed these tunnels, and they're hiding these entrances at the time.
Wow.
And they go down for thousands of miles. And as a matter of fact, Phil Schneider talked about, you know.
Yeah, exactly. He was down in one of these tunnels.
As a matter of fact, that's what took me down this rabbit trail. Look at that. Yeah, just I to me that'd be pretty freaky because your GPS isn't going to work anymore. So you got to really know how to navigate through this thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Look at. Did you see that? Like how many languages is that in? These signs and stuff. That shows like aliens work over here.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's all those cubby holes that they have hollowed out along the way down for supplies.
Yep, I like how Phil Schneider. Maybe I could pull up pictures of the nuclear underground tunneling machine that melts through the earth.
Yeah, exactly.
At 7 miles a day. I wonder if I could. I bet I could find that in nuclear sub. Let's see.
Yeah, because some of the machines that they built, the boring machines were some of the biggest in the world, and they were specially built, brand new. And the machine that they were using, it's so big, yeah, it bores through a lot of this, and at the same time, right behind it, it's recycling the material and laying a road. Pretty sophisticated stuff.
Now, Bill Schneider leaked it out. I probably can pull it up on top. Oh, here it is. This is the one. That's the puppy. This guy right here. Let me show you. Let me zoom that in. United States Air Force. Now, according to Phil Schneider, these are hydraulic push arms that push this thing into the earth. And this is the cooling fins that cool the liquid rock after it's been melted by the subcompact nuclear reactor that superheats lithium, applies at the surface of the earth, and then melts it and pushes it into the cracks and crevices and holes of the rock, the porous rock, leaving a glassy, smooth finish.
Oh my dear Lord.
7 miles a day. The patent for this was patented in 1976. How many have they made? How long have they been doing it? You know what? I've already done the math. They could have tunneled across the Pacific Ocean in 2 years.
Oh my God.
And you could find leaked out videos of the melted glass tunnels. And according to Phil Schneider and other leakers, that this has formed a glassy surface.
Well, that would make complete sense.
Which creates a vacuum chamber for their maglev Mach 2 trains. That they could go from one city to the next. And
the interesting thing I found was that this is the depths that they always tunnel these are at 2 miles, which is about the average depth of the ocean floor. Isn't that interesting?
Oh my! So we've known all along that they're planning on going underground. They're gonna colonize. Basically, well, now we're starting to deal with the hollow Earth theory, but for real. They're hollowing the Earth out to live in it, and they've been doing this for a very, very long time. And you come up with the main question: okay, well, what do they know that we don't? Because you just don't go and do this.
Oh, here we go. This is some of these maps. Check these out.
Yeah.
Now these are some of the leaked out maps. Now this was leaked out in '76, and then 2008. You could see these maps. That one was under Area 51, Pico Riviera. Walmart had closed, along with 5 other Walmarts, all landing right underneath us.
Yep.
Remember the Bundy Ranch?
Yeah.
Right underneath the tunnel, man.
That's why they wanted them so bad.
That's right. You'll
Doctor,
even find this.
Have you ever seen any of this before?
Hmm?
Doctor, have you seen these maps before?
Yeah, well, I've heard about this, but I've never seen these maps. I've known about these underground things.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
But this is
Now, if that ain't rich enough for you, check this out. Now, how come I've seen the Air Force, huge Air Force vehicle parked outside of a supposed Walmart for plumbing issues with an Air Force thing out front? Now, that just connected all the dots for me. Like,
yeah.
The Air Force is in the plumbing.
Yeah, that's code talk for tunneling.
Wow. Yes, it's a U.S. Air Force tunneling machine. So.
I have to look this up on the internet. It's funny how the internet can pull up all these leaked photos. But you can make this up. Oh yeah, this is whatever. But I find it very fascinating that the Walmarts have been built that are closed right underneath us. Did you know the day before they did that, they closed all the Targets?
Yes.
Canada.
Yeah.
All of them. You think they're just cashing in and going underground because they ain't gonna be worth nothing anymore? They've sucked from society as long as they could, and they're bailed.
Well, I think these were all strategic points where the stores were originally located.
You know what? And a little side note, as far as Walmart goes, I got to bring this up because I shop there once in a while. You know, when you remember the near good old days when you just simply walk outside a Walmart and there's some guy that stood there and said, "Have a nice day" or "Good morning."
Yeah. Now they're
like that frog in the boiling water. It's not like, "Can I check your receipt?"
Yep.
But they only checked, Hispanic or suspect people. Now they check everyone.
Yeah.
What's next? Some female agent with a gun saying, "Hey, do you got the mark? Are you gonna freaking shot you? You can't shot me. You're under arrest."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see how they work that into the freaking narrative there?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're getting
people. How you doing? Now it turned from how you doing to what are you doing?
Yeah, but they're getting people used to this type of
right. Next time I'm waiting for a flak jacket and a gun and some
exactly. Now, then when these people get thrown into these FEMA camps for the Walmarts that have been turned into FEMA camps, they'll feel right at home. Oh,
by the way, if you take the word wall and put the word wall in front of the other one, you get martial law, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. LAW wall martial.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and the emblem there for the Walmart symbol is freaking right out the freaking front design of the grinding tunneling machines.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's same color.
Yeah. Yeah. The one they had out in Colorado, when it was brand new, just before it was being used, it was built specially, and yes, the big gigantic blade in the front was yellow. I saw it.
Right. Well, I'll stop sharing for now. I'll see if I can pull up some more stuff on that.
Yeah, we definitely. We definitely have many topics to delve into, and there's probably a lot of people that really aren't up to speed the past 20 years of, the preparation, not by the people on the top of the earth, but the preparation by the elite, because they knew and they know damn well what is going to occur. And I truly believe they are going to create a false flag event, a big one, to kick this damn thing off. Just my opinion.
Probably, yeah.
And people are going to be freaked out, and whatever's going to happen, happens. That's why, trying to let people know exactly what is occurring and what can occur and what probably will occur. It's best that you know about it and you're not that surprised about it. How lethal it will be, I guess someday soon we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
I mean, that's the sad part. And there's still a lot of room to investigate. And each and every day, there are multiple topics to continue to try to expose the truth. But it's getting to everyone and making them understand, because something that's been going on so long, some people lose interest in it. They don't have the time for it. Well, listen, folks, I think we've passed that time that you don't have time for it, because I think it's creeping up on us really quick. Like I said, last couple of days, I've just had this, one of the worst feelings I've had in a long time, that something just is not right. Period. I feed the birds every day. Throw them some bread out back. So does my neighbor. A couple of days ago, we threw an entire loaf of bread out there. Not one bird came. Not one.
Wow. You heard about
Not
no
one.
insects either?
Nothing.
Yeah.
And usually my backyard is a joyous thing to watch if you like animals. Tons of rabbits just laying around under the tree, stretched out, relaxing. Birds everywhere of all different species. Nothing for the last 3 days. Nothing.
Wow.
And that has got me really freaked out, because they're always there. The rabbits, you could look into the backyard, and throughout the neighborhood, you'll see probably 20, 30 of them just, bopping around, doing their thing. Nothing. I haven't seen a bird in 3 days.
Wow. Everything's dying.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the hell's happening, man, but I got everything from cardinals, robins, red-tailed hawk, crows, grackles, wrens, the chickadees, the little small chickadees, pigeons. Nothing. Nothing for 3 days. I haven't seen one of these rabbits in 3 days. And an entire loaf of bread, and my neighbor threw out stuff for the rabbits: celery, lettuce, some carrots, tosses out in their backyard. Nothing. All of it's still there. The entire loaf of bread that we threw out there, still there. The guy ran it over today with the lawnmower. So, they always say, watch animals.
Yeah, they do.
Right,
Watch
for the
animals.
earthquakes. Yeah.
And
What I find interesting, some of these earthquakes that happened, that, remember the one that happened at the rest of the story you didn't hear. Some people might want to hear this, but do you remember the Sumatra earthquake
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It happened on December 26th.
Yes.
Well, the story you didn't hear was on the island of Sumatra. There was a lot of Christian missionaries down there sharing the gospel with the Muslim people,
Mm-hmm.
and they persecuted them. Said, "We don't want you celebrating your Christmas here."
Yeah.
And so they said, and so they went up in the hills and celebrated Christmas, and guess who survived?
Oh my goodness, the Christians.
Yeah. Yep. And
Yeah,
you- I
there's a
mean,
lot of freaky things going on, man. You know, and if you pay very close attention to some things that have always been normal for you, you know,
right.
even the smallest little things that you know as normalcy are now changing.
Yep.
Now, myself, the doctor's new to my neighborhood, and you know, she's been here for a little over a month now, and
Yep.
we both have noticed again over the last 3 days how quiet everything is.
Yeah.
It was
like
very
stupidly quiet.
exactly.
Yeah.
I live in a neighborhood. There's people, you know, moving around every minute of the day, blah, blah,
Ooh.
blah, 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 you
That
know.
reminds me. Yeah, go ahead.
And we said it again today. We were heading out to an appointment. We walked out to the car. You know, it was a little after 12 noon. And it was deafening quiet.
Ooh.
Was
You know
the
what?
weirdest thing.
You just reminded me, but I got it. You guys have to subscribe to MB333. He's one.
Oh, yeah.
He's
yeah.
like got an eyeball. I think he's a believer in Planet X. He won't be completely outright and say it, but I think he believes it. And there is a video. I'm trying to pull it up. I think it was in Texas, where all these birds just freaked out.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
And they didn't know where to go, and they saw like low ground. You know what I think that was? I believe that was Nibiru passing over,
Oh my.
because they were trying to find like some kind of a safe spot. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've personally experienced it. You can feel it. It's a creepy feeling when
Yes,
it
it
just.
is. And
I felt it. It just like in my heart, my soul, just that wave, just after wave, just
yeah.
pushing through your system, and just, you know, that gut feeling you get, like you're gonna get sick. Like that.
Well, me and the doctor have been talking about this for the last 3 days. I'm telling you, Jeff, I swear to God. And you know, I've had this creepy feeling. I don't know. You know, I know myself. I'm very sensitive to these things. Whatever you want to call it. I've been like that my entire life, as a child, teenager, young adult. The doctor is the same identical way.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling hasn't gone away, which means, you know, something's either happening right now that we don't know about it. And I can feel it. She can feel it. You're feeling it. And I keep getting this rot gut, disgusting feeling that the government has a lot to do with it. I'm not trying to sound like a damn conspiracy theorist, but that's the gut feeling that I'm getting. They've got something to do with it, period. I don't know exactly what, but then, you know, Trump comes out with this, the fiery fire fury.
You know what? When I heard that, I swear I was having Truman flashbacks.
Yeah.
Remember, said if they don't surrender, they're going to see the fire lights the world has never seen.
Yep.
I mean, that was like, he just copied the whole Truman thing, almost word for word.
Oh my goodness.
I had to like replay the old black and white video of that announcement. It says if they don't repent, they're going to see fire like the lights they've never seen.
Hey,
I'm like,
do you want to hear a wild story that I just heard coming out of the White House? Do you know that Trump had all of the walls ripped out in the Oval Office?
No, I didn't know.
He had all of the walls ripped out in the Oval Office and reconstructed to find bugs,
Wow.
listening devices,
Oh, well, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt that at all.
It was all over news networks. I heard it in multiple places, read multiple articles on it. And right after one of them little recording scandals, boom. And I guess he had the right to do it. And they start ripping the walls out and replacing them and investigating for listening devices. So, some people have said, oh, Trump's the Antichrist. Da, 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 da. I even asked the question myself. But I truly believe that this man is up against something. And just like Obama has been dropped into the pit of this mess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
You just reminded me of some tidbits about back to some Bible prophecy and things that had happened. Remember this solar eclipse? The biggest thing, I think, main thing is it's a sign. And it's 40 days from the days of Yom Kippur, which always fall between somewhere in the ballpark between September and October. And if you can ever go back in the history and look at every bad thing that's happens between those 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Katrina, twice it happened in October. We had 911. We had the 1929 market crash. We had 911. We had the 2008 market crash, the 2015 market crash. And we had Babylon fell in 539 BC in October. And here's a good one biblically, right? Jesus even said, as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be in the coming of the Lord. Well, guess what? And the book of Genesis, chapter 7, verse 11 says, it was in the second month, the 17th day of the second month. Well, guess what? In the civil calendar, the second month is Tishri.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not Tishri, but it would have been the next one. Basically would fall in our October.
Okay.
Get it? The floodwaters came in the 17th month, the second. Again, there's another October day for you.
Uh-huh. Oh my goodness.
So,
Oh God, that's just what we need.
Mm.
Yeah, 2 events in 1 month.
so it just keeps coming, man. And isn't that funny that that's the day we celebrate Horrorween, right?
Yeah.
All that's evil and just disgusting and death and
Yeah.
whatever is wicked. Let's just dress up like witches and trick or treat, right? I mean, what is that? Give me something or I'm going to trick you. Like you're like subtle blackmail your neighbor, right? For candy.
Yeah.
But it's okay because we do it as little kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is truly becoming some very, very odd, some very, very weird times. It's I don't know, folks. It's just not looking good. We're due for one of these nice, juicy false flags. I mean, it's been a little while, huh?
Yeah. Well, to me, I did a video about the false flag, and it seems like it's going to happen. You know what? According, we all ever since we saw The Simpsons and Donald Trump. I don't know if we went and pull up some of those pictures.
Yeah.
About The Simpsons and the predictive programming. Yeah. How we saw 911 and Donald Trump. Shoot, even Doonesbury predicted Donald Trump 30 years ago as president. They knew all along.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we're looking at these little things to try and find when is the next event. And we look at T-shirts, any little clue they're trying to throw at us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you on all your thoughts there because, frankly, I think the same identical way. And again, we are a little bit too far beyond coincidence for a lot of these things and a lot of these signs and symbolisms. Yeah, trickery. That much is for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think we should go back to the Deagle.com website and get some more Bible prophecy you want to cover?
Oh, yeah, that website was pretty cool, man. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't see this the last time Jeff was on with us, Jeff, I actually took a good look at the Deagle.com, and that kind of sent chills up my spine the more in depth I got to it.
Yeah.
Because nobody just compiles that type of information for nothing.
Mhm.
Right. Want me to, let's see, I can share it with screen again.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to get out of here real quick. Hold on. And go ahead. You take over there.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. This is the homepage, Deagle.com.
Mhm.
Now all you need to do is kind of scroll to the bottom here and see where on the bottom here it says countries. Just click on that. And then you can choose all the different countries. And there you can keep going through. You can find Dazzle's country here and find that, you know, find the different nations that
This
it's
South
suspect
Africa.
that we, what's that?
Oh, this South Africa.
Did you want to
Where
look?
are you?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this website, when you click on the country, it talks about the current population and, you know, its budget of spending. And then, Jeff, how many years does it take you out?
To 2025.
Okay, yes. So then they give you the statistics of the population.
Military spending
yeah.
to populations. That's the key one. And, you know, again, oh, what was that?
What was that?
Oh my goodness! Someone joined in.
Must have some hackers in there. Well, here we go. This is the United
Wild,
States.
man. I'll have to go back on the video and check that out. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, whatever. It's not going to distract us. Okay, so this is the United States, everybody. This is pretty daunting. This is the year 2016. The last they did the forecast, the population at 224 million. Now, I'm just going to cut right to the chase, but look at the inhabitants, 34 inhabitants per square mile, okay? And now they've got the population of 54 million. You know, a couple of years ago it was 68, but I guess.
I know a Herschel. Thank you. I'm only 12 and I hacked your stream. Fuck you, people.
Good for you, man. Repent and stop being the Satan's little puppet. So this is what's happened to you. You see here, the density, 6 inhabitants per square mile. Okay, so you that hacked a little screen, you're whatever. This is, I hope you're ready for this event. 6 inhabitants, okay?
Wow. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a drop. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
6 inhabitants. So time to wake up, America. You've got about less than how many days left?
For the eclipse?
Oh, for lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But the Feast of Trumpets, I think that's going to be America's first shock.
Yeah.
The next shock is going to be September 30th. And then somewhere in October, you got something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what it's probably a bit late to do my article on the eclipse. But that's what mine was all about.
Well, you know what? I mean, we could definitely get to the eclipse in another live stream tomorrow, because we are getting closer and closer to it, and people are having more. People are having more and more questions. Jeff, what is your schedule for the next couple of days?
Well, I could have a little time off on Friday or late tomorrow. Hey, little puppet of Satan, you need to repent. You know what a puppet of Satan is, right?
Yeah. That's
Right.
the first time I've ever seen that happen. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, we've been on here for quite a while, and I'm going to get some rest myself here, and same thing. The doctor's been working very hard finishing things up, and but we could definitely get together. Jeff, I got to give you my new number, and you get in touch with me and let me know your schedule, and then we can get back on and we can dig a little more into the Bible prophecy. And doctor, we're definitely going to touch on the report she did on the eclipse. This is another one that she did, and this one's fantastic. And I think the closer and closer we get to this eclipse, the more and more people want the information, and they want to know what to expect, what's happening, what could happen, what we think might happen.
Yeah.
We're going to dig into all of it.
Yeah.
How much you can guarantee. But anyways, guys, any last words for our viewers? Jeff?
Hey, thanks for watching, and yeah, just thank you for watching and for supporting all of us. Keep our backs. Pray for us all. We're just trying to hold the truth out there, including the puppets of Satan that like to hack this channel. We need to repent too.
Yeah, I know exactly how they're doing it, and yeah, I'll put a quick end to that. That's not a problem.
Yep. They probably found a link to your channel.
Yeah, he's like, I'm 12 years old and I just hacked your channel. Fuck you. You'll get what's coming to you.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The truth is a double-edged sword. You got to be able to handle it now. So now you know. What you can do about it. You need to repent.
Yep, absolutely.
And what I mean by repent, your attitude towards God.
Yeah.
Anyways, eventually, like I said, they will get what's coming to them, and hopefully their parents take a belt to one of their asses.
The day is coming. There's going to be no more trolls, man. Truth will reign only. And those that practice a lie, like Daza, the cameraman, who spends his every waking hour practicing a lie, shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. Sorry.
No, it's gonna happen.
Like me. I'm in a foster home.
You're a liar, and you're on your way to hell. You need to repent. Lake of Fire is a very hot place, little girl, and that's where you're headed. Very hot, eternal lake of fire. Okay, it's gonna happen. You can deny it once, stick your head in the sand. It's gonna happen.
I hope their parents beat them tonight. Anyways, doctor, what about you? Any last words for our viewers out there?
Well, I'd like to say one more time that we are heading for, I think, some hard times, and it's a good time to get to know our Creator, and give Him our lives. Look to our own spiritual growth, and remember that God is love. And if we don't walk in love, then we show Him that we don't know Him. So we should walk in love.
Very good words. Very good words.
If you have love, if you don't have love, you got nothing. So
that's right.
Very, very true.
And love is not rude. It does not interrupt other people. It does not parade itself. It's a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like certain individuals who think it's real funny to hack our little channel. You just proved yourself and everybody listening that you're just another puppet of Satan.
Yeah, and a little one too.
Yeah.
Hopefully the parents take a good swift belt to their little asses.
Yeah.
But,
look at the sky. Your doomsday is coming. You're running out of time, little girl. Repent.
I'm only 12 years old and I have.
Oh, I'm only 12 years old. I'm so special. I did like any 12-year-old can do, watch a YouTube channel and hack the internet. Woo, I'm so special.
Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end our live stream right now. We've covered a lot tonight, and we're going to be getting into more and more of this, each and every day. Sorry about the last 2 days. Just been very, very busy. With a lot of things and just making a lot of observations. And those observations, we brought them all to you today. And we're going to be back tomorrow. The doctor has the total solar eclipse report. This is the second one. And we're going to stay right on top of the information as it comes in. But listen, folks, you know, we do have some earthquakes popping all over the world. If you do live in any of these areas, hey, listen, please keep up on the information, because the way that it looks right now, anything can happen at any time, and we're starting to see it. It's minute by minute, day by day. It's all occurring right before our eyes.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate each and every one of you being with us today. We've had a very interesting live stream, I think. Very informative also. I'd like to thank Jeff P. for being with us tonight, and also our physicist. Doctor, thank you very much.
I just want to say, hopefully we don't get any more satanically and demonically inspired little hackers that think it's funny to hack our channel. Because that's where the inspiration comes from.
That's
You're
right.
disrupting the flow of truth. That's inspired by the devil. So whoever did that, stop listening to the little whispering demons in your ear. You need to knock it off.
No, the little possessed demon.
They're like, oh, the little demon goes, oh, it's so good, a great idea. Go hack the channel and disrupt the flow of truth, what God is trying to put out.
I'll let you know.
You're in the path of God's truth.
I'll let you know exactly how they did it. It's actually not, it doesn't involve any technology or hacking whatsoever. It was just a mistake on our part. But I'll let you in on it later on. I'll talk to you personally tomorrow or the next day. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna cut us off here, and I'm gonna go grab a bite to eat. And listen, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Watch everything going on around you, folks, because it's happening right in front of your face. Jeff, thank you very much for being on with us. And also, Doctor, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Scott.
And ladies and gentlemen, once again, make sure you stay tuned. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Jeff.
Good night.